Time is the one resource you can never get back. Every day passes in minutes, and how you spend those minutes determines the life you live. Most people move from task to task without realizing how much energy and potential they waste. This is not about working harder, it is about making every action count, choosing what truly matters, and taking control of your day. In this video, you will discover how to structure your time, protect your focus, and turn small daily actions into lasting progress. You will learn practical steps to stop drifting through life and start living with purpose, clarity, and momentum. By the end, you will understand how to use every minute intentionally, build habits that support your growth, and create routines that make your goals achievable. If you are ready to take charge of your time and transform the way you live each day, this video will show you exactly how to make every minute work for you. Chapter 1. Start valuing every minute by setting clear priorities. Time is the only resource that once spent can never be retrieved. You can regain money, repair broken relationships, or even recover from setbacks in your health or career. But the minutes you waste are gone forever. This truth is often ignored because minutes seem small and insignificant, yet the entire structure of life is built on them. Every hour, every day, every year is made up of these tiny units. If you wish to build a life of meaning, growth, and achievement, you must begin by valuing every single minute. To value your minutes, you must know exactly where they should go, and this is why setting clear priorities is the foundation of making every moment count. When people complain about not having enough time, what they usually lack is not time, but clarity. Their minutes are scattered across unimportant activities, drained by distractions, or consumed by tasks that lead them nowhere. If you feel overwhelmed, it is not because the day is too short, but because your priorities are too vague. Without a clear sense of what truly matters, you will always find yourself busy but not productive, exhausted but not fulfilled. The first step toward mastering your life is to decide with full honesty what deserves your time and what does not. Clarity begins with reflection. Ask yourself, what do you truly want in this stage of your life? What kind of person are you trying to become? What values do you refuse to compromise on? If your minutes do not serve these answers, they are being wasted. For example, if your health is important to you, then your schedule should reflect exercise, balanced meals, and rest. If family matters deeply, then your minutes should include conversations and presence with them. If growth and knowledge are priorities, your minutes should be spent reading, practicing, and learning. Without this link between values and time, you will always feel that life is slipping away. Many people never pause to set their priorities because they believe they already know them. But the reality is that most live according to convenience, habit, or pressure from others. They may say health is a priority, but their calendar is filled with endless work and no space for rest. They may claim family is important, yet most of their minutes vanish on television, scrolling, or gossip. To set clear priorities means to align your schedule with your deepest truths, not with passing desires or outside demands. It requires honesty and courage to admit where your time has been stolen by things that do not matter. Once you define your priorities, the next step is to rank them. Not everything can be number one. Life requires trade-offs, and clarity means knowing what comes first, second, third, and what can be ignored altogether. Without ranking, you will continue trying to do everything and end up doing nothing well. Imagine two people, one who spends her minutes divided among 10 different goals, and another who focuses intensely on the top 2. The second person will always progress further because energy flows where focus is directed. You must accept that by valuing one thing, you may have to delay or even reject another. This is not a loss, but a discipline. To make this practical, Write down the 5 areas of life that matter most to you right now. They might be health, relationships, personal growth, career, and financial stability. Then, rank them in order of importance. Once you have done that, compare your ranking with how you currently spend your minutes each day. The contrast may shock you. If health is first, but you give it 0 attention, you are out of alignment. If personal growth is third, yet you never read or learn, you are living against your own values. This awareness is not meant to bring guilt, but to guide correction. The moment you notice a gap, you have the power to shift. It is not enough to know your priorities. You must also protect them. The world is filled with demands and distractions, and if you are not intentional, your minutes will be stolen by what matters least. Every day, you will face choices between what is urgent and what is important. Urgent tasks scream for attention, emails, notifications, interruptions, but they often add little to your growth. Important tasks are quieter, yet they shape your future. Exercise, learning, meaningful work, and deep relationships. Valuing every minute means disciplining yourself to give importance the highest ground, even when urgency presses in. This is not easy, but it separates those who drift through life from those who shape it. One way to strengthen this discipline is to begin each day by asking one powerful question. What matters most today? This question forces you to align your minutes with your priorities. If health is first, perhaps your answer is a workout and a healthy meal. If relationships are second, perhaps it is calling someone you care about. If career growth is third, perhaps it is focusing on one meaningful project instead of drowning in busy work. By choosing 1 or 2 key priorities each day and committing to them, you prevent your minutes from being scattered and wasted. Another practical step is to cut out what does not belong. Most people know what they should be doing but fail because they continue to entertain what is irrelevant. You cannot value your minutes if you spend hours on meaningless scrolling, endless chatter, or tasks that add nothing to your goals. This does not mean you should never relax or enjoy leisure. It means your leisure should be chosen intentionally, not as a default escape. If you wish to relax with a book or a walk, that is valuable. If you lose hours as distractions without realizing it, that is waste. The key is awareness. Every minute should be a conscious choice, not an accident. Valuing your minutes also requires honesty about your limits. You cannot give equal attention to everything. Some commitments will need to be delayed, others abandoned. This honesty frees you from guilt because you know exactly why you chose what you chose. For example, if your top priority this season is improving your health, you may temporarily reduce social events. If your main focus is advancing your career, you may limit entertainment. This is not selfishness, it is strategy. A life without priorities is scattered. A life with priorities is sharp and directed. To strengthen your commitment, it helps to remind yourself of the cost of wasted minutes. Every minute given to something meaningless is a minute taken from something meaningful. If you spend 3 hours each day on distractions, that is over 1,000 hours in a year. Imagine what you could build in 1,000 hours of learning, creating, exercising, or connecting with loved ones. Time is not just passing, it is being invested or wasted. When you understand the weight of this, you will guard your minutes with greater care. Consider also that priorities change with seasons of life. What matters most at one stage may not matter as much later. When you are young, perhaps growth and career are at the top. As you age, health and relationships may rise higher. The key is to keep evaluating and adjusting. Do not cling to old priorities that no longer serve your present life. Adapt and align your minutes with the truth of your current season. This flexibility ensures that your time is always being used in the most meaningful way. It is equally important to recognize that priorities are not only about grand goals, but also about the small choices of daily living. Choosing to sleep early instead of staying up aimlessly is a priority. Choosing to cook a healthy meal instead of ordering junk food is a priority. Choosing to listen fully in a conversation instead of half paying attention is a priority. Life is built minute by minute, and every choice reveals what you truly value. You do not need to wait for a big opportunity to practice this. You can start right now with the next minute. A practical method to anchor your priorities is to create a simple rule. If it does not align with my top 3 values, it does not get my time. This rule may sound strict, but it frees you from endless hesitation. Instead of debating whether to say yes or no, you compare the request with your priorities. If it fits, you say yes. If it does not, you decline politely. This practice will save you countless wasted minutes and direct your energy to what truly matters. You may face resistance when you start living this way. Others may not understand why you are suddenly more protective of your time. They may call you strict or unavailable. But remember, you are not here to please everyone. You are here to honor your life. Those who respect you will understand. Those who do not are not meant to direct your path. Valuing your minutes is not selfish. It is respect for your one life. The emotional impact of clear priorities is profound. When you live aligned with your values, you feel lighter, more focused, and more fulfilled. You no longer carry the weight of wasted time or the guilt of neglecting what matters. You wake up with clarity, spend your day with direction, and go to bed with peace. This emotional reward is greater than any distraction can offer. It is the joy of knowing that your minutes are being used wisely. The discipline of valuing every minute is not built in one day. It is a practice. You will stumble, lose focus, and sometimes waste time. But each time you notice, you can return to your priorities. The key is persistence. Over time, your ability to protect and direct your minutes will grow stronger. Eventually, it will become your natural way of living. You will no longer feel scattered or lost because your priorities will always guide you back to what matters most. Imagine your life a year from now if you began today to truly value every minute. Instead of hours lost to meaningless distractions, you would have hundreds of hours invested in your health, growth, work, and relationships. Instead of regret, you would carry a deep sense of progress. Instead of feeling rushed, you would feel purposeful. This is not a dream, it is the natural result of setting and protecting clear priorities. The first chapter of this journey begins with a simple but powerful decision. Decide what matters most. Write it down, rank it, and commit to living by it. Once you do this, your minutes will no longer be random. They will become tools, each one building toward the life you want. Every moment will have meaning, and your days will reflect your deepest truths. The power of your life lies in how you choose to spend your time, and the power of your time lies in the clarity of your priorities. The choice is yours. You can continue living scattered, busy, and exhausted, or you can take control of your minutes by aligning them with your highest values. The path of mastery begins with valuing the smallest unit of life, a single minute. If you honor that, everything else will fall into place. Chapter 2. Build strong daily routines that support your growth. Growth is not something that appears by chance. It is built quietly and steadily through the choices you make every single day. If you look closely at the people who seem to progress in health, career, relationships, or self-mastery, you will notice one common factor. They live by routines that keep them moving forward even when motivation fades. A strong routine is not about living a rigid life where every second is controlled. It is about creating a system that supports your values and goals so that progress becomes natural instead of forced. When your days are guided by structure, you stop wasting energy on deciding what to do next and start directing that energy into meaningful action. The purpose of a routine is to provide stability in a world that is constantly changing. Each day you will face uncertainties, interruptions, and emotions that could easily pull you off track. Without structure, you respond to whatever comes your way, and your growth depends on chance. With structure, you have a foundation that protects your progress. A strong routine acts like a guide that reminds you what matters and ensures that even when life feels unpredictable, your core actions remain consistent. This is why daily habits are often more powerful than rare bursts of effort. Small actions repeated with discipline create far more change than occasional intensity. To build a routine that supports growth, begin by identifying the essential actions that directly contribute to the areas you want to improve. If you want better health, the foundation may be exercise, quality sleep, and balanced meals. If you want intellectual growth, reading, writing, or learning could form part of your routine. If you want to strengthen relationships, setting aside time for communication and presence might be key. The mistake many people make is trying to build routines that look impressive on paper but have no direct connection to their deepest goals. A routine is only as strong as the clarity of purpose behind it. Once you know which actions matter, the next step is to design them into your day in a way that feels realistic. Ambition often pushes people to create routines that are too heavy to carry. They try to wake up at a new time, exercise intensely, read for hours, change their diet, and meditate all at once. Within a week they collapse under the weight of it. Growth is not about overwhelming yourself with changes. It is about selecting a few powerful habits and repeating them until they become automatic. A realistic routine is one that you can continue even when you are tired, busy, or uninspired. Consistency is the true measure of strength, not intensity. Morning is often the best place to anchor your routine because it sets the tone for everything that follows. When you begin your day with actions that align with your growth, you create momentum that carries forward. Waking up and immediately engaging in purposeful activity tells your mind and body that your day has meaning. This does not have to be complicated. It may be as simple as stretching, drinking water, writing down your priorities, or taking 10 minutes to reflect. The power lies not in the complexity, but in the consistency. Every morning becomes a reminder that your time has direction. Evenings are equally important because they close the day with intention and prepare you for tomorrow. Too often, people waste their evenings in aimless activity, draining themselves before sleep. But if you use the last part of your day to review what you accomplished, prepare for the next day, and wind down with calm habits, you give yourself the gift of balance. Sleep becomes restorative, your mind is clear, and you wake up ready to continue your routine without struggle. In this way, both ends of the day form pillars that support everything in between. Discipline grows stronger when you remove unnecessary decisions. Decision fatigue is real, and when your day is filled with constant choices, your energy drains quickly. Routines reduce this burden by predetermining your actions. Instead of deciding every day whether to exercise, when to eat, or how to plan your time, you already know. The decision was made once when you built the routine. From then on, you simply follow it. This frees your mind for more important tasks and ensures that your essential habits never depend on momentary feelings. Flexibility must also be built into your routines, because no matter how disciplined you are, life will occasionally disrupt your plans. If your routine is too rigid, one interruption can make you feel like you have failed, and you may abandon the entire system. A strong routine is not fragile. It has room to adjust when needed. For example, if you normally exercise in the morning but travel disrupts your schedule, you can shift the workout to later in the day. If you usually read for 30 minutes but only have 10, you still read. The key is to never abandon the action entirely. Adjust, but do not remove. One powerful way to strengthen routines is to attach new habits to existing ones. This makes the routine easier to remember and harder to break. For example, if you already drink coffee in the morning, you could attach a short stretch or gratitude practice to that moment. If you already brush your teeth at night, you could attach 2 minutes of reflection afterward. By linking a new habit to one you already perform automatically, you reduce resistance and increase success. Over time, your routine becomes a natural chain of actions that flow into each other. Accountability also plays a role in sustaining routines. While personal discipline is essential, sharing your goals with someone you trust or joining a community with similar habits can provide extra strength. Knowing that someone else is aware of your routine and expects you to follow through can push you to stay consistent on days when your motivation is weak. However, accountability should not replace inner commitment. It is an additional layer of support, not the foundation. True growth comes when you can follow your routine because you respect yourself, not because others are watching. A routine is not meant to make life dull or mechanical. It is meant to free you from chaos so that you can focus on growth. Think of the mental space you gain when you no longer waste time wondering how to spend your day. That space can be used for creativity, problem solving, and building meaningful connections. Strong routines do not trap you, they release you from the burden of uncertainty. They give you control over your direction, while leaving room for spontaneity in areas that do not threaten your priorities. Over time, the benefits of a routine compound. The actions you repeat daily may seem small, but they create results that cannot be ignored. 10 minutes of reflection each evening sharpens your awareness. Half an hour of reading each day expands your knowledge enormously over a year. Consistent workouts transform your health. Steady communication strengthens relationships. None of these changes happen in one day, but with routines they become inevitable. Your life is shaped not by what you occasionally do, but by what you consistently practice. Building routines also trains your mind to see time differently. Instead of drifting from one activity to another, you begin to recognize that every block of time has purpose. You become more aware of where your energy goes, and you start protecting it with care. You no longer feel scattered because your routine gives shape to your days. This sense of order brings calmness, and calmness strengthens focus. Growth thrives in this environment. To start today, choose one area of your life where you want growth and identify one small habit that supports it. Place that habit in your day at a specific time and connect it to something you already do. Commit to repeating it daily for the next month, without exception. Once it becomes natural, add another. Slowly, your routine will expand, not by force, but by steady layering. The strength of your routine is not in how much it contains, but in how deeply it supports your growth. In time, you will notice that your routine becomes part of your identity. You no longer struggle to maintain it because it feels natural to who you are. People may admire your discipline, but you will know that it is not discipline alone, it is design. You built a system that carries you forward, even on hard days. And when you look back, you will realize that much of your growth did not come from dramatic events, but from the quiet strength of the routines you honored each day. This is how strong daily routines shape a life. They protect your progress, reduce wasted energy, and ensure that growth is no longer dependent on chance. By choosing routines that reflect your priorities, Building them with realism and practicing them with consistency, you create a framework where success becomes natural. Each day adds to the next, and the person you are becoming is built steadily and surely. If you want to grow, do not rely on motivation or luck. Build routines that make growth inevitable, and your life will steadily rise to meet the level of your discipline. Chapter 3. Focus fully on one task to maximize your results. Distraction has become the biggest thief of potential in the modern world. Many people believe they are productive because they are busy, but busyness is not the same as effectiveness. The truth is that your best results come when your entire attention is directed at a single task without division. Trying to manage many things at once scatters your energy and leaves you with half-finished work, lowered quality, and constant stress. If you want to see true progress, you must learn the discipline of focusing on one task until it is completed with excellence. When you split your attention across multiple things, your mind never fully enters a state of deep work. You may type a few words, check your phone, switch to another task, return to the first, and then remember something else. Each shift requires your brain to restart, wasting energy and reducing efficiency. What could have taken 1 hour may stretch into 3. Beyond time, the quality of the outcome suffers because your thoughts never settle deeply enough to reach clarity. A focus is not only about speed, it is about the depth of engagement that produces superior results. The ability to focus is a skill, and like any skill, it requires training. Begin by setting clear boundaries for your work. Choose one task that matters most. Remove everything else from your environment and commit to working on it for a specific period. Turn off notifications, silence your phone, and close irrelevant tabs. Let people around you know that you are unavailable during this time. By creating an environment where distractions cannot easily intrude, you give your mind the chance to direct all its power toward the single task before you. Your mind will resist at first. It has grown used to constant stimulation and switching between tasks. The moment you try to focus, you may feel restless or tempted to check something else. This is natural, but it is also the sign that you are retraining your brain. Do not give in. Each time you push through the discomfort, your ability to concentrate grows stronger. With practice, you will find it easier to sustain attention for longer periods, and the work that once felt heavy will become smoother. To make this practice sustainable, use short blocks of focused time and gradually expand them. Start with 20 or 30 minutes of undivided attention, followed by a brief break. During the break, step away from your work, stretch, breathe, or drink water, then return for another block. This method helps you build stamina without overwhelming yourself. Over time, you can extend the blocks to an hour or more, depending on the nature of the task. The key is consistency. Regular practice of focus strengthens your mental endurance, just as exercise strengthens the body. Focusing on one task also requires clarity of choice. You must decide what deserves your full attention at a given moment. This is where priorities come into play. Not all tasks are equally important, and if you focus deeply on the wrong thing, you may achieve results that do not move you forward. At the beginning of each day, identify the single task that, if completed, would make the greatest impact. Once you know it, protect your time fiercely and give it your best energy. By doing this, you ensure that your focused effort is directed at what truly matters. Another benefit of full focus is the sense of immersion it creates. When you are fully engaged, time seems to move differently. Hours can pass without you noticing because your entire mind is absorbed in the task. This state of immersion is deeply satisfying. It reduces stress, increases creativity, and gives you a sense of accomplishment that scattered activity can never provide. People often seek fulfillment in external rewards, but much of it can be found in the simple act of giving yourself completely to one meaningful activity. Your results will multiply when you work this way. A writer who spends 2 hours in focused concentration produces more quality pages than someone who spends 6 hours distracted. A professional who gives their undivided attention to solving one problem often finds solutions faster than someone juggling multiple issues. Even in personal life, the difference is clear. A parent who gives full attention to a child for 30 minutes creates deeper connection than one who is half engaged for 3 hours. The power of focus lies not in the quantity of time, but in the quality of attention. Training yourself to focus also improves self-control in other areas of life. When you learn to resist distractions during work, you strengthen the same mental muscles that help you resist unhealthy impulses, unnecessary arguments, or unproductive habits. Focus is not limited to tasks. It becomes a way of living. You learn to direct your energy with purpose rather than scattering it in all directions. This control builds confidence because you know that you can stay steady even when the world pulls you toward distraction. It is important to recognize that focusing on one task does not mean ignoring everything else forever. It means giving full attention to one thing in the present moment. Once it is completed, you can move to the next with the same depth. This sequential approach ensures that each part of your life receives quality effort rather than divided fragments. By finishing one thing at a time, you also reduce the mental load of carrying multiple unfinished tasks in your mind. Completion clears mental space, and mental space increases peace. To strengthen your focus, pay attention to your energy patterns. Some people think they cannot concentrate, but the truth is that they are trying to focus at the wrong time of day. Notice when you feel most alert and creative. For many, this is in the morning. For others, it may be later in the evening. Schedule your most important task during this peak energy window. Do not waste it on shallow activities. Use it for the work that requires depth, because your ability to focus will be highest. Less important tasks can be handled when your energy dips. Nutrition, sleep, and exercise also play a role in your capacity to focus. A tired body cannot sustain mental clarity. Skipping sleep or living on poor food choices will make it harder to concentrate, no matter how strong your willpower is. If you want to maximize your results, take care of the physical foundation that supports mental strength. A healthy body creates a steady mind, and a steady mind is able to direct full attention. Do not underestimate this connection. One of the greatest obstacles to focus is the fear of missing out. Many people keep switching between tasks because they worry they are neglecting something else. They want to do everything at once and end up doing nothing well. To overcome this, remind yourself that you can only give your best by narrowing your attention. You are not missing out when you focus. You are investing. Scattered mind loses both time and quality. The focused mind gains both, except that mastery requires trade-offs. By giving your all to one thing now, you create greater capacity for other things later. Reflection is also a tool to sharpen your focus. At the end of the day, review whether you gave your full attention to the tasks that mattered most. Be honest without judgment. If you notice that you drifted, acknowledge it and adjust tomorrow. This awareness helps you identify patterns and remove weak points. Perhaps you lose focus most when you work in certain environments or at certain times. By observing these triggers, you can make adjustments that strengthen your ability to concentrate. Growth comes from this cycle of practice, reflection, and refinement. Technology can be both an enemy and an ally to focus. It offers tools that can block distractions, organize tasks, and create structured time. But it also offers endless streams of noise that pull your mind away. Use technology with intention. Choose tools that support your focus, not those that fragment it. For example, you may use an app to block social media during work hours or a timer to structure your focus sessions. Be in control of your tools, or they will control you. The discipline of focusing on one task builds a life of integrity. When you promise yourself that you will give undivided attention and you follow through, you strengthen trust in yourself. You no longer feel scattered or unreliable. Each completed task reinforces your confidence and shows you that progress is within your control. Over time, this discipline extends into every area of your life. Relationships become deeper because you give your full presence. Work becomes stronger because you deliver with excellence. Even leisure becomes more fulfilling because you are fully engaged instead of half distracted. The world may praise multitasking, but true growth belongs to those who master concentration. To focus fully on one task is to respect your time, your energy, and your potential. It is to acknowledge that depth creates more value than speed. By building the habit of complete attention, you not only maximize your results, but also cultivate a mind that is calm, strong, and reliable. The path to excellence is not through doing everything at once, but through doing one thing with all of yourself, then moving on to the next. In this way, your life becomes a series of complete actions, each building upon the last, forming a structure of lasting achievement. Chapter 4. Track your time daily to find hidden opportunities. Time is the one resource that cannot be replaced, and yet most people move through their days without really knowing where it goes. Hours disappear into distractions, conversations, and tasks that add little to their growth or progress. What separates the disciplined from the unfocused is not just hard work, but awareness. The simple act of tracking your time each day creates clarity. It allows you to see not only where your minutes are being spent, but also where opportunities are hiding, waiting to be uncovered. Without measurement, life runs on autopilot. With measurement, life becomes intentional. When you track your time, you shine a light on habits that often stay invisible. You notice the 15 minutes spent scrolling on your phone, the half-hour wasted in unnecessary conversations, or the repeated delays between tasks that add up to hours each week. None of these things feel significant in the moment, but when recorded, they reveal patterns that shape your days and ultimately your results. This awareness is uncomfortable at first, because it forces you to face the truth of how much of your time is being spent unproductively. But it is also freeing, because with awareness comes control. Once you know, you can change. Practical tracking does not require complicated tools. A simple notebook, a calendar, or even a sheet of paper is enough. Write down what you are doing and when you begin and end. The act itself creates mindfulness, pulling you into the present and reminding you that time is passing, whether you value it or not. Digital tools can also help if you prefer, but the method matters less than the consistency. The important step is to start and continue. Even a few days of accurate logging can reveal truths about how you live that you may never have realized. For example, you may think you work 8 hours a day, but when tracked you might see that only 4 of those hours are actually spent in focused, productive work. The rest is fragmented by distractions, interruptions, and time lost in transition. This is not a reason for guilt, but for adjustment. If half your energy is being drained by things that do not matter, then you have already found hidden opportunities to reclaim hours without adding extra strain. The goal is not to do more, but to redirect what is already available toward what counts. This practice also strengthens discipline. Every time you note what you are doing, you are training your mind to stay accountable. You are less likely to drift into wasteful activities when you know you will have to record them. Over time, this habit builds a natural filter in your mind, making you more selective about where your attention goes. You start asking yourself whether what you are about to do deserves your time, and that question alone reshapes your behavior. The insights gained from daily tracking extend beyond productivity. They help you see how much time you dedicate to relationships, to rest, to learning, and to yourself. You may discover that entire days pass without giving attention to your health, reflection, or personal growth. You may see how much of your schedule is dictated by others rather than your own values. These discoveries are uncomfortable but necessary because they show you where you are neglecting areas that give life meaning. Opportunities are not always about earning more or achieving more. Sometimes the hidden opportunity is to live more fully, to restore balance, or to take care of what truly matters before it is too late. A common resistance people feel toward tracking time is that it seems rigid or unnecessary. They say they want freedom, not constant measurement. But discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the foundation of it. When you know where your time is going, you gain the ability to choose more wisely. Without this knowledge, you are already trapped by habits you are not aware of, by hours that slip away without your consent. Tracking does not limit life, it expands it by giving you back control. Imagine finishing a week of recorded time and reviewing it honestly. You may see 5 hours lost to television that gave you nothing in return. You may see 10 hours scattered across tasks that could have been delegated or eliminated. You may see patterns of wasted mornings or unplanned evenings. Now imagine what could be done with even half of that reclaimed time. Reading books that sharpen your mind, exercising to strengthen your body, building skills that improve your future, or simply connecting with loved ones more deeply. All of these opportunities exist, but they remain hidden until you look closely enough to find them. The practice of reviewing your time also sharpens decision-making. When you know where time is being invested, you can begin aligning it with priorities. If something does not match your values or long-term goals, you will see it clearly and be able to cut it out. This process demands honesty and courage. It requires admitting that some things you thought were important are actually distractions. It requires giving up comfort to claim progress, but in doing so you free yourself to focus on what truly matters. The Stoic perspective reminds us that every day is a gift and every hour borrowed time. Life is short, and no one knows how many minutes remain. By tracking time daily, you remind yourself of this truth, not as an abstract idea, but as a lived experience. You become more conscious of the passing hours and less willing to waste them. This awareness creates urgency, not a rushed or anxious urgency, but a steady discipline to treat each day as worthy of respect. Start small. Record one day, then 2, then a week. At the end of each day, glance back at what you have written. Ask yourself what you could have done differently. Ask which moments brought progress and which moments drained you. Over time, you will see patterns emerging like a map of your life. That map will guide you toward hidden opportunities you never noticed before. Opportunities to work smarter, to live healthier, to connect deeper, and to create more of the life you want. The difference between those who drift and those who advance lies in awareness. Most people hope life will sort itself out, but hope is not a strategy. Awareness creates clarity, and clarity creates strength. Tracking your time daily is one of the simplest yet most powerful practices to achieve that clarity. Once you begin, you will never look at your days the same way again. Every minute will carry more weight, and you will feel more alive in the hours you have, because you will know they are not endless. They are precious, and they are yours to use wisely. Chapter 5. Use small actions each day to build consistency. Progress in life rarely comes from dramatic leaps. The truth is that transformation happens in the small, steady actions repeated day after day. Many people believe they must wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect moment before they start. But waiting wastes precious time. The real key to growth lies in choosing one small step and repeating it until it becomes part of who you are. That small action, even if it seems insignificant at first, begins to shape your character, build your discipline, and lead you toward bigger achievements. Consistency does not demand that you do extraordinary things. It asks that you do ordinary things with commitment, over and over, until they compound into extraordinary outcomes. Think about how water shapes stone. A single drop means nothing, but repeated drops over years carve valleys and smooth rough surfaces. Small actions work the same way in your life. Reading a few pages each day builds knowledge. Saving a little money consistently builds financial security. Exercising for 10 minutes daily strengthens the body over time. These small steps may seem too minor to matter, but when compounded with patience, they produce results that surprise you. The mind tends to underestimate the power of repetition because it seeks quick results, but lasting success never comes in an instant. It is earned through the discipline of showing up daily, even in small ways. The challenge most people face is not starting, but continuing. At the beginning of a new habit, enthusiasm runs high. You feel inspired, motivated, and determined to change. But when the excitement fades, you are left with the grind of daily repetition. This is where many give up, thinking their small effort is not enough. Yet this is precisely the moment where the seeds of transformation are planted. If you can continue when it feels ordinary, if you can keep going when there is no applause, then you unlock the real strength of consistency. Progress is not measured by how motivated you feel, but by how disciplined you remain when motivation disappears. One of the most practical ways to build consistency is to lower the barrier to starting. If you want to exercise daily, begin with just a few push-ups or a short walk. If you want to read more, commit to 2 pages a day. By starting small, you remove the resistance that often prevents you from acting. The goal is not to achieve perfection immediately, but to make the habit so simple you cannot excuse yourself from doing it. Over time, what once felt small will grow naturally. 10 minutes of reading will become 20. A short walk will turn into a daily jog. The foundation is not built by intensity, but by continuity. Another important principle is to connect your small actions with a larger purpose. Consistency feels more meaningful when you know why you are doing something. If your goal is better health, remind yourself that each short workout is an investment in your long-term energy. If your aim is financial stability, see every small saving as a step toward freedom. When you tie daily actions to a vision of the future, the effort carries more weight. Purpose transforms routine into meaning, and meaning fuels persistence. Without purpose, habits feel like chores. With purpose, they become acts of self-respect. It also helps to track your progress, even in small ways. A checklist, a calendar, or a journal can show you how far you've come. The human mind thrives on visible evidence of progress. When you see that you have read every day for a month or walked consistently for 30 days, you build a sense of pride and momentum. These visual reminders prevent you from underestimating your efforts. They prove that small actions do add up. The danger lies in forgetting the work you've already done, because the lack of visible results can make you feel stuck. A record of your actions protects you from this illusion and motivates you to keep moving forward. Discipline also requires patience. You will not always see immediate rewards for your efforts, and that can feel discouraging. But the real growth often happens beneath the surface, unseen at first. Just as a seed needs time to grow roots before it breaks through the soil, your small, consistent actions are preparing you for breakthroughs later. Impatience kills progress because it tricks you into abandoning habits just before results appear. Patience allows you to trust the process even when the outcome is not yet visible. Consistency without patience leads to frustration, but consistency with patience leads to mastery. Another truth about small actions is that they strengthen your identity. Every time you act in alignment with your goals, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. If you write one paragraph daily, you prove to yourself that you are a writer. If you exercise for 10 minutes, you confirm that you are someone who takes care of their health. These small actions create evidence that shapes your self-image. The more you repeat them, the more you believe in yourself. Identity is not formed by what you claim you will do, but by what you repeatedly do. At times, you may feel that consistency is boring. Repetition lacks the excitement of novelty, and the mind craves variety. This is where discipline comes in. You must train yourself to find satisfaction, not in the novelty of action, but in the progress of mastery. Consistency brings stability, clarity, and strength. The boredom you may feel is not a sign that you are failing, but a sign that you are on the right path. If everything always feels exciting, it is likely new but unsustainable. If some days feel repetitive, you are building the foundation of something permanent. Small daily actions also prepare you for bigger challenges. A person who trains discipline through minor habits develops the resilience to handle major obstacles. If you can wake up on time daily, you prove to yourself that you can keep commitments. If you can manage your time consistently, you are better prepared to handle demanding projects. Success in big moments comes from preparation in small ones. Life will always test you, and the strength you bring to those tests will depend on the habits you practiced when no one was watching. When you think of consistency, also think of forgiveness. There will be days when you fail to follow through. Missing once does not ruin your progress, but giving up because you missed once will. The real danger is not failure, but discouragement. Accept that imperfection is part of the journey. Forgive yourself quickly, but return immediately to the habit. Success belongs not to the person who never stumbles, but to the one who refuses to stay down. Consistency is not perfection. It is persistence. To make small actions easier, design your environment to support your goals. If you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious food within reach and remove unhealthy options from your surroundings. If you want to read daily, keep a book by your bedside or on your desk. If you want to write, open a document on your computer and leave it ready for when you return. Your environment can either work against you or for you. By setting it up to reduce friction, you make it easier to remain consistent. Finally, remember that small actions matter not just for productivity, but also for character. Each time you show up consistently, you cultivate patience, self-control, and resilience. These are qualities that extend beyond the habit itself. The discipline you build in one area strengthens your ability to succeed in others. The person who learns to manage their time better can also manage relationships better. The one who trains persistence through fitness can carry that persistence into their career. Consistency shapes not only your outcomes, but also your entire way of living. Every day is an opportunity to take one more step forward. The step does not need to be big. It only needs to be repeated. With every small action, you prove that growth is possible and that change is within your control. Over time, those tiny steps form a path that leads to remarkable transformation. The strength you seek, the results you desire, and the life you want to live All begin with what you choose to do today, in this moment, and in every moment after. Consistency is not a secret. It is a decision repeated daily, and through it, you build a future worth living. Chapter 6. Replace wasted time with habits that fuel progress. Progress in life often comes down to how we spend the minutes that slip through our hands each day. Many people feel that they don't have enough time, yet the truth is that the hours are there for all of us. The difference lies in what we do with them. If much of that time is poured into distractions, mindless scrolling, or activities that give no return, it leaves little energy and focus for the things that actually move life forward. That is why replacing wasted time with habits that fuel growth is one of the most important changes anyone can make. It is not simply about being busy. It is about ensuring that the time you invest creates momentum, builds character, and contributes to the life you want to build. The first step is developing awareness of where your time currently goes. Without honest recognition, it is easy to underestimate how much time gets drained away by meaningless routines. Hours spent on television, endless social media feeds, gossip, or overthinking could be gradually replaced with actions that enrich the mind, strengthen the body, or improve relationships. Instead of trying to suddenly remove everything unproductive, the more effective approach is substitution. When you replace wasted minutes with intentional habits, you not only cut out distractions, but also create positive reinforcement, because the new actions give a sense of accomplishment. For example, if you usually spend 30 minutes watching content that leaves you feeling empty, switching those same 30 minutes to reading, journaling, or practicing a skill leaves you with knowledge, clarity, and progress. Over time, these substitutions accumulate into meaningful transformation. Habits that fuel progress are not always grand or dramatic. In fact, the most powerful ones often look simple and small. Reading 10 pages of a book each day, taking a short walk after meals, stretching for 15 minutes, practicing gratitude before sleep, or spending time in reflection are all examples of actions that compound into lasting growth. The key lies in repetition. When you choose habits that are realistic and sustainable, they soon require little effort to maintain, and they begin to replace the wasted minutes that once drained your potential. Every moment that shifts from empty consumption to purposeful practice is a step toward becoming a stronger version of yourself. Another important principle is aligning habits with long-term goals. Wasted time usually feels good in the moment, but leaves nothing for the future. By contrast, habits that support growth may require effort now, but provide rewards later. A clear way to identify such habits is to ask, will this action bring me closer to the person I want to be? If the answer is yes, then it is worth adopting. For instance, if your goal is financial stability, replacing time spent scrolling with time spent learning about budgeting, investing, or creating a side income is an immediate trade-off that builds your future security. If your goal is health, then cooking a wholesome meal instead of ordering fast food not only saves money but strengthens your body and mind. Each intentional choice builds a life of momentum and direction. Replacing wasted time also requires discipline in dealing with distractions. Modern life offers endless opportunities to lose hours without realizing it. Notifications, entertainment, and unimportant tasks constantly compete for attention. To counter this, it helps to create boundaries that make focus easier. Turning off non-essential alerts, setting time limits on devices, or scheduling specific windows for leisure can prevent wasted minutes from controlling the day. The time saved from distractions can then be redirected toward habits that build skill, health, or personal growth. Discipline is not about eliminating pleasure, but about ensuring that pleasure does not dominate at the expense of progress. A useful way to replace wasted time is to create a list of progress habits that can be done whenever you find yourself idle. Instead of reaching automatically for a phone or television, you can use those gaps for something nourishing. That could mean writing a few thoughts, doing a quick exercise routine, practicing deep breathing, or reviewing goals. These small switches gradually reshape the mind to see downtime as an opportunity rather than a void to be filled. By preparing meaningful alternatives, you give yourself the tools to win back control over the moments that used to slip away unnoticed. The mental shift that comes with this practice is significant. When you know that each action, no matter how small, is contributing to your growth, life begins to feel purposeful. You no longer feel guilty about wasted hours because those hours have been replaced with habits that make you stronger. That sense of momentum creates motivation, and motivation fuels consistency. What once felt like discipline eventually becomes a natural way of living. At that point, wasted time is no longer tempting because you have experienced the satisfaction of using minutes wisely. It is also important to recognize that not every habit will fit every season of life. What fuels progress now may need adjustment later. The essence of replacing wasted time is flexibility combined with intentionality. You must remain aware of whether your current habits are still leading you forward or whether they have become comfortable routines that no longer challenge you. Growth requires consistent evaluation. Just as you replace wasted time with productive habits, you must also replace outdated habits with new ones that match your evolving goals. Replacing wasted time with progress habits also has a ripple effect beyond personal development. It strengthens relationships, deepens confidence, and improves resilience. When you spend time listening attentively to someone instead of being distracted, the bond grows stronger. When you use spare minutes to learn, you become more capable of handling challenges. When you practice health habits, your energy levels rise, which makes you more present and engaged in all areas of life. These benefits compound, and soon others notice the difference in your focus and discipline. The most powerful result of this shift is the realization that you are in control of your life in ways you might not have believed before. Time wasted often creates a feeling of helplessness, as though the day slipped away and nothing was accomplished. But when you replace that wasted time with habits that matter, the opposite happens. You end each day with the knowledge that your actions built something meaningful. Even small efforts accumulate into progress, and progress builds confidence. Confidence, in turn, creates the courage to aim higher, try more, and keep moving forward despite difficulties. Every person has the same 24 hours, yet the outcomes of those hours differ dramatically depending on how they are used. The people who build lives of purpose are not necessarily the ones who started with the greatest advantages, but the ones who refused to waste their minutes. They recognized the value of each moment and replaced empty habits with practices that brought growth. You have that same choice every single day. The shift does not require perfection. It only requires awareness, discipline, and the willingness to use even a few moments differently. Over weeks and months, those small decisions will transform your direction. When you look back years from now, the difference between wasted time and intentional action will be enormous. The conversations you had, the books you read, the skills you practiced, the steps you walked, and the promises you kept will define the quality of your life. What might seem insignificant today will have shaped your future self. That is the power of replacing wasted minutes with habits that fuel progress. The decision is always in your hands, and the sooner you take control, the sooner you begin building the life you deserve. Chapter 7. Set meaningful goals that guide every daily choice. When you wake up in the morning and face the decisions of the day, the direction you choose depends on the goals you hold in your mind. Goals are not only about achievements in the distant future, they are the guiding compass for the choices you make moment by moment. Without clear goals, it is easy to drift into habits that do not serve you, spend time on distractions, and allow other people's priorities to control your schedule. Setting meaningful goals is about defining what matters to you deeply, then letting those values shape every action, decision, and routine you take on. To make every minute of your life work for you, you must first define what success looks like in your eyes and align your days with it. A meaningful goal is personal, clear, and tied to something that matters in your heart. It is not borrowed from someone else's expectations or imposed by society. It comes from understanding your own values and what kind of life you want to build. This is why vague desires like be happier or do better rarely bring change. They do not give you a direction to move toward or a clear measurement to evaluate your progress. Instead, meaningful goals answer the question, what do I truly want my days to lead me toward? That could be improving your health, building stronger relationships, reaching financial security, learning a new skill, or developing inner peace. Once you identify your deeper intention, your goal becomes the structure around which your daily choices are built. When you create a goal that matters, it gives purpose to the small decisions of each day. For example, if your meaningful goal is to improve your health, the choice to walk instead of sitting for hours takes on a new level of importance. It is no longer just about exercise, it is about moving closer to the life you want. If your goal is to build a stronger connection with your family, then choosing to spend uninterrupted time with them instead of scrolling on your phone becomes a direct step toward fulfillment. These seemingly minor daily decisions build up into the life you create. Each moment is either aligned with your goals or pulling you away from them. To set meaningful goals, start by reflecting on the areas of life that matter most to you. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to become in the next 1, 5, or 10 years. Picture the relationships, health, work, and lifestyle you want to experience. Once you see that vision clearly, break it into concrete goals that can guide you today. If the vision is too big or too far away, it may feel overwhelming and cause procrastination. That is why meaningful goals must be specific, realistic, and broken down into smaller steps. Instead of I want to be financially free, a clearer goal is I will save a certain amount each month to build long-term security. Instead of I want to be healthy, the better goal is I will cook 2 balanced meals at home each day. Specific goals give you clear guidance that can shape daily choices. The power of meaningful goals lies in their ability to shift your focus. Without them, you may spend hours reacting to what comes your way. With them, you begin to act with intention. Every decision becomes easier because you have a standard to measure against. If something contributes to your goal, you give it energy. If it does not, you let it go. This way, goals act as filters that help you protect your time from distractions. You stop scattering your attention on things that do not matter, and instead channel your effort where it counts most. Another important step is writing your goals down. Many people keep their goals in their mind, but when life gets busy, they quickly lose sight of them. Writing makes them concrete. It forces you to put clarity into words and gives you something to return to when you feel distracted. Each morning, look at your goals and remind yourself why they matter. This simple practice makes your choices more intentional throughout the day. Over time, you will notice that even small actions take on greater meaning because they are tied to your larger vision. When goals are meaningful, they are not just about the outcome, they are about the process of becoming someone better. For example, if your goal is to read more books, it is not only about finishing a certain number. It is about the growth, learning, and discipline you gain through the practice of reading consistently. If your goal is to strengthen your body, the workouts are not only about physical results, but also about building resilience and confidence. When you view goals as processes instead of just outcomes, you stay motivated longer and find satisfaction in daily progress. One challenge many people face is setting too many goals at once. This scatters focus and leads to frustration. Meaningful goals are not about doing everything. They are about choosing what matters most. By selecting fewer but more important goals, you create clarity and reduce the mental noise of competing priorities. It is better to commit deeply to 3 important goals than to chase 10 half-heartedly. Ask yourself which goals, if achieved, would bring the greatest improvement to your life. Let those guide your daily actions first, before adding more. Another way to make goals meaningful is to connect them with your identity. Instead of saying, "I want to exercise," say, "I am a person who values health." Instead of saying, "I want to save money," say, "I am someone who manages money wisely." When goals are tied to identity, they become part of who you are rather than tasks on a checklist. This makes it easier to make choices that align with them because they reflect the kind of person you are becoming. To keep your goals alive, review them regularly and measure progress. A meaningful goal is not something you set once and forget. It needs attention, reflection, and adjustment. Some goals may change as your life changes, and that is normal. The key is to stay connected to what truly matters at each stage of your journey. Set aside time weekly to look at your progress. Ask yourself what went well, what could improve, and what actions you will take next. This practice keeps your goals active and ensures they continue to shape your choices. When you live guided by meaningful goals, each day feels purposeful. Even when challenges arise, you know why you are making the effort. The struggles are no longer meaningless obstacles, but part of the journey towards something important. This perspective gives you resilience, because you see beyond the discomfort of the moment and focus on the value of the outcome. It also reduces regret, because your time is spent moving towards something you truly care about rather than being wasted on distractions. In the end, meaningful goals are not about perfection. They are about direction. They give you a path to follow so that when life gets noisy or overwhelming, you know where to focus. Each small choice matters when it is tied to a larger vision. Every minute of your day becomes a building block toward the life you want. That is how you make every minute work for you, not by filling your time with endless activity, but by letting your goals guide each step with purpose. Chapter 8. Turn distractions off and protect your focus fiercely. Distractions are everywhere today, and they can easily control your day if you allow them. Every notification you check without thinking, every message that pulls you away from your priorities, every mindless scroll through your phone takes pieces of your focus and weakens your ability to create meaningful results. Protecting your attention is not just about being more productive, it is about respecting your own time and valuing the life you are building. When you understand that every small interruption steals your energy and momentum, you start to see why eliminating them is one of the most important skills for making every minute count. Begin by becoming aware of the things that distract you the most. For some people, it is the constant pull of social media. For others, it is the habit of checking emails every few minutes. And for many, it is the environment they place themselves in. Pay close attention for a few days and notice when your mind wanders or when you switch tasks without a good reason. Write those moments down and you will see patterns that reveal your biggest focus killers. Without this awareness, you will keep losing time without realizing how much you are wasting. With awareness, you can take back control. Once you know your distractions, the next step is to take intentional action to remove them. If your phone is the main cause, set it aside when you work on something important. Place it in another room or turn off notifications completely. If the people around you often interrupt, communicate with them clearly and set boundaries by telling them when you need quiet time. If your environment is too noisy, create a space where you can work without constant interruptions. These small changes may feel difficult at first because you are used to being available and responsive, but over time they create the mental space you need to concentrate deeply and accomplish what matters. Focus grows stronger when you practice protecting it like a valuable resource. Each time you ignore an unnecessary distraction, you are training your mind to stay present and engaged. Think of how much progress you can make in 1 hour of uninterrupted work compared to 3 hours of scattered attention. When you remove distractions, tasks that once felt overwhelming suddenly become easier because you are giving them your full energy. You no longer need to restart again and again because your mind stays on track. This discipline builds confidence and helps you see that your best results come from focus, not from doing 10 things at once. To maintain strong focus throughout your day, create rules that guide how you use your time. Decide specific hours when you will check messages or social media instead of letting them interrupt you constantly. Use timers to work in blocks of focused time, followed by short breaks. Keep your workspace clean so that your mind does not wander to unnecessary tasks. These habits remove the need to make constant decisions about what to do next, and instead they create a clear structure that supports deep concentration. The more consistently you follow your own rules, the more natural it becomes to focus without feeling the urge to check everything around you. Protecting your focus also means learning to say no more often. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to the work and goals that truly matter. Be honest with yourself about how many times you agree to do things just to please others or to avoid discomfort, even when they take away from your priorities. Practice saying no kindly but firmly, and remind yourself that protecting your time is not selfish but necessary. When you stop filling your schedule with things that do not align with your goals, you create the space to focus fully on what moves you forward. Another powerful way to defend your attention is to design an environment that naturally supports focus. Remove anything from your desk or room that tempts you to waste time. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals, such as a clear list of priorities or a written statement of what you want to achieve. Keep tools and resources you need within reach so you do not waste time searching for them. When your environment is designed for focus, you are less likely to fall into distraction because your surroundings guide you toward meaningful work. It is also important to protect your mental focus, not just your physical environment. Negative thoughts, worries, and doubts can be just as distracting as external interruptions. To strengthen your mental clarity, practice mindfulness by taking a few moments each day to breathe deeply and center yourself. Clear your mind before starting an important task so you are fully present. When distractions appear in your thoughts, acknowledge them but do not allow them to control your actions. This mental discipline gives you the power to keep moving forward even when your mind tries to wander. As you get better at removing distractions, you will notice a new sense of calm in your daily life. You no longer feel scattered or rushed because your attention is not constantly being pulled in every direction. You finish tasks faster and with higher quality, which frees up more time for rest, relationships, and growth. You realize that true productivity is not about doing more, but about doing what matters with full attention. Protecting your focus gives you back your time and energy, and with that comes greater fulfillment and confidence. Every person has the same 24 hours in a day, but the difference lies in how those hours are used. Some people allow distractions to steal most of their time, while others guard their focus fiercely and turn each moment into progress. You have the choice every day to decide which person you will be. If you choose to protect your attention, you are choosing to value your future, your goals, and your potential. That choice, repeated daily, will separate you from those who remain stuck in endless busyness without results. The discipline to turn distractions off is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Each moment you stay focused builds momentum toward the life you want. Each time you resist the urge to check your phone, give in to noise, or say yes to meaningless tasks, you strengthen your ability to use your time wisely. The more you practice, the stronger your focus becomes, until it feels natural to live with clarity instead of chaos. This is how you make every minute work for you, by giving it your full attention and refusing to let distractions take it away. Chapter 9. Practice saying no to tasks that drain energy. Learning to say no is one of the most valuable skills you can develop if you want to protect your energy and focus on what matters. Many people spend large parts of their lives exhausted, not because they lack strength or ability, but because they allow too many unnecessary commitments to fill their time. They agree to projects that add no real value, they take on responsibilities that others could handle, and they continue to say yes even when they know it will drain them. The truth is that your time and energy are limited resources, and every time you give them away to the wrong tasks, you rob yourself of the chance to use them for what truly matters. The difficulty often lies in the discomfort of saying no. From a young age, people are conditioned to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, and to meet expectations. This habit follows into adulthood, where many find themselves accepting requests out of fear of disappointing someone or being judged. Yet every time you say yes when you want to say no, you create resentment within yourself. That resentment grows over time, leaving you tired, distracted, and unfulfilled. The energy you waste on tasks that do not align with your goals could have been invested in something meaningful. Saying no is not about rejecting people. It is about respecting your own priorities. It does not mean you are selfish or uncaring. It means you have chosen to protect your limited capacity for the things that truly deserve it. Think about how many times you have felt drained after doing something you never wanted to do in the first place. That tiredness is not just physical, it is emotional. It shows that your energy is being spent in places that give nothing back. When you learn to decline those commitments, you free yourself to focus on what fuels you instead of what empties you. A useful practice is to pause before agreeing to any request. Too often, people say yes immediately without considering the cost. The next time someone asks you to commit to something, give yourself space to think. Ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Will this bring value to my life or to the goals I am working toward? Do I genuinely want to do this, or am I agreeing only out of guilt or obligation? When you take a moment to reflect, you can respond with clarity rather than impulse. That small pause can save you hours, days, or even weeks of wasted energy. It is also important to recognize that not every request is your responsibility. Some tasks belong to other people, and by always saying yes, you may even prevent them from learning to handle their own responsibilities. When you take on more than you should, you carry a weight that was never meant for you. Over time, that weight becomes overwhelming, leaving you burned out and unable to give your best to anything. By saying no, you not only protect yourself, but also encourage others to take ownership of their own tasks. In this way, saying no is not just good for you, but also for the people around you. The way you say no matters. It does not need to be harsh or rude. You can decline respectfully and firmly. Simple phrases such as, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I cannot commit to that," or "Thank you for asking, but my schedule will not allow it," are enough. You do not owe anyone a long explanation or apology. The more you practice using clear and direct language, the more natural it will become. People often respect honesty more than a reluctant yes, and in many cases, they will value your boundaries once they see you stand by them consistently. When you begin to practice saying no, you might feel uncomfortable at first. That is normal, because you are breaking a habit that may have shaped much of your life. Over time, however, you will notice a powerful shift. You will feel lighter, because you are no longer carrying commitments that do not belong to you. You will have more energy for the things you actually want to do. You will notice that your schedule feels more spacious, and with that space comes clarity. You can finally focus on what matters most, without the constant weight of unwanted obligations. Another benefit of saying no is that it allows you to say yes to the right things. When your time is filled with draining tasks, there is no room for opportunities that truly excite you. You might miss chances for growth or meaningful experiences simply because your schedule is already consumed by things you never cared about. By saying no more often, you create room for better choices. You open the door for commitments that bring joy, progress, and fulfillment. Protecting your time in this way ensures that when something valuable comes along, you are ready to give it your full energy. This practice also strengthens your self-respect. Each time you say no to something that drains you, you are affirming that your needs and goals matter. You are reminding yourself that your time is valuable. Over time, this builds a stronger sense of confidence and self-worth. You no longer live at the mercy of other people's demands because you have taken ownership of your schedule. Instead of spreading yourself thin, you direct your energy with intention. This shift in mindset is powerful because it transforms how you see yourself and how others see you. It is worth noting that not every request should be rejected, and balance is important. There will be times when helping someone, even if it takes energy, is the right choice because it aligns with your values or strengthens relationships. The key is to make these choices consciously, not out of habit or fear. When you choose to give your energy, it should come from a place of willingness rather than obligation. That difference changes how you feel about the task and prevents resentment from building. Think about the long-term impact of how you use your time. Every yes you give shapes the direction of your life. If most of your days are filled with draining tasks, your future will be shaped by exhaustion and unfulfilled goals. If, on the other hand, you reserve your energy for meaningful work, your future will reflect growth and progress. Each no you say today protects your tomorrow. It keeps your path clear and allows you to move toward the life you want instead of being pulled in every direction. At its core, practicing the art of saying no is about living with intention. It is about refusing to give away your most precious resource, your energy, to things that do not deserve it. When you stop scattering your strength across endless distractions and obligations, you begin to direct it toward what truly matters. This clarity changes not only how much you achieve, but also how fulfilled you feel in the process. You no longer live by default, you live by design, choosing where your attention and energy go each day. By making no a regular part of your vocabulary, you protect your well-being and your goals. It is not always easy, but it is always necessary. Each time you choose to decline what drains you, you make space for what builds you. Over time, this practice transforms your life, giving you more energy, more focus, and more freedom to create the results you want. The habit of saying no to draining tasks is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself because it preserves your power and ensures that every effort you make moves you closer to the life you are working to build. Chapter 10. Invest minutes in learning skills that grow your future. Every day gives you a small window of time that can be used to prepare for the future. Most people underestimate what can be achieved in just a few minutes, but those minutes, when invested consistently, can change everything about where your life is headed. Learning is not something that should stop once you finish school or once you reach a certain age. It is the fuel that keeps your mind sharp, your confidence strong, and your opportunities expanding. The challenge is that many believe they don't have enough time to learn new skills, but the truth is you don't need hours each day to make meaningful progress. What matters most is building the habit of using small chunks of time wisely and focusing on skills that will have lasting value. Think about how often minutes slip away unnoticed. Waiting in line, scrolling through social media, watching television out of habit, or engaging in conversations that don't contribute anything useful. Those same minutes could be redirected into reading a few pages of a book, practicing a new language, listening to an educational podcast, or taking notes on a course that sharpens your abilities. The point is not to eliminate rest or entertainment from your life, but to make sure you are allocating at least a fraction of your time to learning something that positions you better for tomorrow than you are today. The power of investing minutes into learning is that it compounds. Just as a small amount of money grows when you invest it over time, small pieces of knowledge grow into expertise when consistently added. 10 minutes of daily learning may not seem like much, but over a year, it adds up to more than 60 hours of focused effort. Imagine what 60 hours directed toward improving a single skill could do for your career, your health, or your personal growth. You would be far ahead of where you started, and those results come without the need to completely rearrange your life. The key is to treat learning as a non-negotiable part of your day. It is easy to make excuses, but excuses don't create progress. The people who grow consistently are not those with unlimited free time, but those who deliberately carve out small spaces in their schedule and use them with discipline. You can start by identifying a skill that would make the biggest difference in your life. This might be something related to your profession, like improving communication, learning technology, or mastering financial skills. It could also be something that enhances your personal life, like cooking healthier meals, practicing mindfulness, or learning problem-solving strategies. Once you know what skill will bring the most value, you can commit to investing minutes into it daily. It is also important to choose the right sources of learning. The internet has made knowledge more accessible than ever, but it has also made distraction easier. If you are not careful, you can spend hours consuming information that feels useful but never actually strengthens your abilities. That is why you should focus on high-quality books, trusted courses, mentors, or practical experiences that give you knowledge you can apply immediately. Learning should not just be about collecting information, but about applying it in ways that change your actions and results. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to link your learning habit to an activity you already do daily. For example, you could listen to an audiobook while commuting, review flashcards during your coffee break, or spend a few minutes practicing a skill right after you finish dinner. By attaching learning to an existing routine, it becomes easier to maintain because it doesn't feel like an extra burden. It feels like a natural extension of what you already do. Over time, those minutes become part of your rhythm, and the progress you make feels effortless. Another powerful approach is to measure your progress regularly. When you track what you've learned, you create a sense of accomplishment that motivates you to keep going. For instance, keeping a journal of new skills, maintaining a list of books completed, or practicing in small, measurable steps helps you see how far you've come. This record becomes evidence that you are not standing still, but actively moving toward a stronger version of yourself. Many people quit learning because they don't notice progress day by day, but when you step back and measure the journey, you realize how much has been built from those minutes. You should also remember that learning is not just about knowledge, but about mindset. When you commit to daily growth, You are training yourself to believe in your ability to adapt, evolve, and prepare for future challenges. You develop resilience because you know that no matter what changes occur in the world, you are capable of acquiring the skills needed to succeed. This kind of confidence is far more valuable than any single piece of knowledge because it ensures you never feel stuck or powerless. The biggest barrier to investing minutes in learning is often the feeling of being too busy. But busyness is not the same as progress. Many people spend their days filled with activity, yet end up no closer to their goals because none of that activity contributes to their future. By intentionally replacing a few wasted minutes with focused learning, you break this cycle and create forward movement. This small decision can separate those who remain stuck from those who keep advancing. You should also diversify the areas in which you learn. It is easy to become too narrow, focusing only on what you already know or feel comfortable with. But growth often happens when you step into new areas that challenge you. Learning a skill outside your main area of expertise forces your brain to think differently and often gives you creative advantages that others don't have. For example, someone in business who learns psychology gains insight into human behavior, and someone in health who learns technology gains tools for efficiency. Cross-training your skills makes you adaptable in a world that is always changing. Finally, remind yourself that learning is not a temporary project, but a lifelong practice. The world does not stop moving, and if you stop learning, you eventually fall behind. But if you keep investing those minutes, no matter your age or stage of life, you stay sharp, capable, and prepared. You don't need to overwhelm yourself with massive commitments. You only need to keep showing up daily with the intention to learn and grow. That discipline will ensure that each year of your life builds upon the last instead of repeating the same patterns. Minutes may seem small, but they hold incredible power. Every time you choose to use them for growth, you take control of your future. You create momentum that builds, and you ensure that when opportunities arrive, you are ready to take them. The choice is simple but profound. You can let minutes drift away without purpose, or you can invest them in skills that will continue paying you back for the rest of your life. If you consistently choose the second path, you will discover that your future is not something to fear, but something you are actively shaping with the decisions you make today. Chapter 11. Review each day honestly and improve with intention. At the end of each day, there is a valuable opportunity waiting to be claimed. Many people rush from one day into the next without ever pausing to think about how they spent their time, what they accomplished, and where they fell short. But when you stop for even a few minutes to look back with honesty, you give yourself a chance to grow in ways that others miss. Improvement does not come from repeating the same actions blindly. It comes from reflection, awareness, and a willingness to make adjustments. If you want tomorrow to be better than today, you must first be willing to see today clearly. That is why daily review is so powerful. It forces you to face the truth about your habits, your choices, and your use of time. Honest review does not mean punishing yourself for mistakes or dwelling on failures. It means looking at your day without excuses and asking what worked, what didn't, and why. Maybe you plan to spend an hour learning something new but let it slip away to social media. Maybe you handled a conversation well and left the other person encouraged. Both moments matter, and both deserve your attention. By noticing them, you strengthen the habits that help you grow and weaken the ones that hold you back. Reflection brings clarity, and clarity builds control. Without it, days blur together, and years pass without meaningful progress. When you sit down to review your day, you are training your mind to think critically about your actions. Instead of living on autopilot, you become a student of your own life. Ask yourself simple questions. Did I focus on what matters? Did I waste energy on tasks that don't align with my goals? Did I follow through on the commitments I made to myself? The answers may not always be comfortable, but they will always guide you forward. Comfort keeps people stuck, while truth opens the door to growth. Even small realizations, like noticing that you concentrate better in the morning than at night, can reshape the way you approach your days. The key is to approach your review with intention, not just as a routine task to check off. Too often, people journal or reflect in a vague way that brings little benefit. Writing "today was fine" or "I need to be better" will not move you forward. Instead, focus on specifics. What exact moment of the day made you proud? What exact choice do you regret? What exact step could you take tomorrow to correct it? Specificity creates change, while general thoughts fade away. By being precise, you can identify the patterns that shape your life. Over time, you will start to notice recurring themes. Maybe you often waste time during the same hours of the day. Maybe you repeatedly avoid a certain type of task because it feels uncomfortable. Maybe you find that your best progress happens on days when you start with a plan instead of drifting. These insights are like signposts. They show you where you're going wrong and where you're on track. Once you see them, you can no longer pretend you don't know. That knowledge gives you power, but it also gives you responsibility. You cannot hide from yourself once you have faced your day honestly. This process also builds humility. No one lives a perfect day, and if you approach reflection expecting perfection, you will only end up frustrated. The goal is not to eliminate all mistakes, but to reduce repeated ones. If you wasted an hour today, recognize it and choose to spend it differently tomorrow. If you reacted poorly in a conversation, acknowledge it and decide how you will respond better next time. Humility keeps you from denial, and intention keeps you from drifting. Together, they turn review into a powerful practice that compounds over time. Think about how professionals in every field improve. Athletes watch recordings of their games to see what they missed. Musicians replay their performances to hear flaws they couldn't catch in the moment. Speakers listen to recordings of their talks to notice tone and pacing. They don't do this because they enjoy criticism. They do it because they know review accelerates mastery. Your life deserves the same attention. By replaying your day in your mind, you give yourself the chance to perform better tomorrow. Some people avoid reviewing their days because they fear what they might discover. They prefer to stay blind to wasted hours or unkept promises, but ignoring the truth never makes it disappear. The time you waste is still lost, and the opportunities you neglect are still gone. Facing them may sting, but it is far better than allowing the same mistakes to control you silently. When you review your day honestly, you turn every misstep into a lesson instead of letting it become a habit. Practical tools can help with this process. A journal is one of the simplest and most effective. Write down 3 things you did well and 3 things you could improve. Keep it short but specific. Over weeks and months, you will see patterns you never noticed before. Another method is to give yourself a daily score. Rate your focus, your use of time, and your consistency on a scale from 1 to 10. Over time, you will see whether you are trending upward or downward. These small systems keep you accountable to yourself and provide concrete evidence of growth. Daily review also builds gratitude. When you stop to recall the positive moments in your day, you remind yourself of progress you might otherwise overlook. Maybe you handled a challenge with patience, finished a difficult task, or resisted a distraction. These are victories worth noticing. Gratitude for your own efforts fuels motivation. It reminds you that even when progress is small, it is still progress. Without review, it's easy to forget how far you've come, which leads to discouragement. With review, you see both your strengths and your weaknesses clearly. The most important part of reviewing your day is turning insight into action. Awareness without change is useless. If you notice that distractions keep pulling you away, plan how you will limit them tomorrow. If you see that you waste mornings, commit to starting with your most important task right after waking. Improvement requires a bridge between reflection and behavior. That bridge is intention. The conscious choice to do something differently each time you build that bridge, you move closer to the person you want to become. What makes this practice powerful is its compounding effect. One day of review may not transform your life, but a year of it will reshape how you think and act. You will make fewer repeated mistakes, recognize your strengths faster, and become more efficient with your time. The discipline of review creates self-awareness, and self-awareness creates freedom. Instead of stumbling through your days, you move through them with clarity and purpose. At the end of every day, ask yourself whether you lived in line with your values and goals. Did you move closer to the future you want, or did you drift away from it? The answers may be uncomfortable, but they will always be useful. The truth is your ally if you choose to use it. By reviewing each day honestly and improving with intention, you gain control over your time, your habits, and ultimately your life. This simple practice, done consistently, can separate a life of regret from a life of growth. Each evening becomes a chance to close the gap between who you are and who you want to be, one honest reflection at a time. Chapter 12. Take care of your body to increase daily energy. Energy is the foundation of everything you do in life, and your body is the source that fuels it. When your physical health is neglected, no amount of planning, focus, or motivation can carry you far, because your energy level determines how much you can give to your work, your relationships, and your goals. That is why taking care of your body is not a luxury, but a necessity. The strength of your mind, the clarity of your decisions, and the consistency of your actions all depend on how well you treat yourself physically each day. If you feel drained often, the solution may not be to push harder, but to step back and ask whether your daily habits are building energy or stealing it from you. Start with the simplest element: sleep. Quality rest is the engine that powers all your waking hours. Many people sacrifice sleep in the name of productivity, but this is a false trade. Without enough rest, your concentration weakens, your emotions become unstable, and your body struggles to repair itself. When you consistently go to bed at a regular time and allow yourself enough hours of uninterrupted rest, you wake up ready to take on the day with sharpness instead of sluggishness. Even 1 extra hour of sleep can make the difference between dragging through tasks and approaching them with clear focus. Nutrition plays a role just as important. Food is not just something to enjoy, it is information you give your body every day. What you eat becomes the raw material for your cells, your muscles, and your energy supply. If most of your meals are heavy, processed, or filled with sugar, you will notice the crash that follows, leaving you tired and unmotivated. On the other hand, meals rich in whole foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, healthy fats, create sustained energy that lasts throughout the day. Eating in a way that balances your blood sugar prevents mood swings and afternoon slumps. You don't need extreme diets or complex plans, you just need consistent, simple choices that provide nourishment instead of stealing vitality. Movement is another non-negotiable. Exercise is not only about looking a certain way, it is about ensuring your body functions at its best. Regular physical activity improves circulation, strengthens muscles, and clears your mind. When you move your body daily, even through something as simple as a walk or stretching, you increase your stamina for both physical and mental tasks. Exercise also releases endorphins, natural chemicals that boost your mood and reduce stress. Many people underestimate how much of their low energy comes from being sedentary for too long. By committing to move every day, you give yourself a natural, renewable energy source that no external stimulant can match. Hydration is often overlooked, yet it directly influences how alert and capable you feel. Even mild dehydration leads to fatigue, headaches, and reduced concentration. Most people reach for coffee when they feel tired, but water is the real solution more often than not. Keeping a bottle of water nearby and making it a habit to drink consistently throughout the day is one of the simplest ways to increase energy naturally. Taking care of your body also means respecting its limits. Stress, overwork, and constant rushing take a toll on your health. If you push yourself without pausing, your body will eventually force you to slow down through illness or burnout. Building small moments of recovery into your day, whether through stretching, breathing deeply, or stepping away from screens, protects your energy reserves. Recovery is not a waste of time, it is maintenance that keeps you functioning at your highest level. What you avoid is just as important as what you add. Excessive alcohol, smoking, or too much caffeine may give temporary relief, but they drain more energy than they provide. The same applies to sitting for hours without movement, relying on junk food for convenience, or constantly exposing yourself to unnecessary stress. Every choice that neglects your health carries a cost, and over time the cost grows until it steals opportunities you could have embraced. Choosing to protect your health today is an investment in all the days to come. The way you treat your mornings also has a large impact. If you start your day with rushed habits, heavy food, or constant noise from your phone, you drain energy before you've even begun meaningful work. But if you create a routine that centers you hydrating, moving a little, eating something light but nourishing, you begin with strength instead of depletion. Those first hours often determine the rhythm of the entire day, so design them with care. Equally important is listening to the signals your body gives you. Fatigue, pain, or mental fog are not random. They are messages that something needs attention. Many people ignore these signals until they turn into larger problems. By paying attention early, you can make small changes that prevent bigger issues later. If you feel tired, consider whether you need better sleep or a change in diet. If you feel stiff, add stretching or movement breaks. If you feel overwhelmed, incorporate recovery time. Respecting these signals is one of the smartest ways to maintain long-term energy. Your body is also connected deeply with your emotions and mindset. When you feel stressed or anxious, your energy drains faster. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, or even quiet breathing restore balance between mind and body. Protecting your mental health is just as vital as exercising your muscles. A calm mind allows your body to release tension, leading to better sleep, better digestion, and more stable energy throughout the day. Consistency is key. One healthy meal, one workout, or one good night's sleep will help for a moment, but the real power comes from repetition. Energy is built like a bank account. You add to it daily through healthy choices, and when you need to withdraw for hard work or long days, you have reserves to draw from. By treating self-care as a daily responsibility instead of an occasional holiday, you create a foundation of energy that supports everything else in your life. Taking care of your body is not separate from success, it is the very foundation of it. Every meaningful goal requires energy, discipline, and persistence, and your physical state shapes how much of those you can offer. When you treat your body well, you are not only investing in health, you are making it possible to live fully, work effectively, and enjoy the results of your efforts without being constantly exhausted. Every decision you make about your health either brings you closer to strength or pushes you closer to struggle. The truth is, you cannot control everything in life, but you can control how you care for yourself. Each meal you eat, Each hour of rest you allow, each glass of water you drink, and each moment of movement you give your body is a choice that builds energy for tomorrow. Protecting your health is not about perfection, but about commitment. Even small adjustments, an earlier bedtime, a short daily walk, a healthier snack, compound over time into greater stamina, clearer thinking, and a higher quality of life. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Without it, your time and skills cannot reach their full potential. By making the decision to take care of your body every day, you ensure that you meet life with strength instead of weakness, with clarity instead of fog, and with confidence instead of constant fatigue. When your body is strong and energized, you can face challenges with power, pursue your goals with persistence, and enjoy each day with the vitality you deserve. Chapter 13. Use mornings wisely to create powerful daily momentum. The way you use your mornings often determines how the rest of the day unfolds. When the day begins with purpose, energy, and a clear sense of direction, everything else tends to align more smoothly. Mornings are not just the start of a day. They are the foundation that shapes how much you achieve, how you feel, and how well you handle challenges. If mornings are rushed, scattered, or wasted, it becomes harder to build momentum later. But if they are used wisely, they can give you an advantage that carries you through the hours ahead. The choices you make in the first part of the day are more powerful than you may realize, and they can either lift you forward or hold you back. A good morning routine does not need to be complicated. What matters is intention. You don't have to wake up at an extreme hour or copy the habits of someone else. Instead, you need to design mornings that match your life, your goals, and your energy. The simplest decisions, what you do first after waking up, how you spend your first hour, and whether you begin with clarity or with noise, become the patterns that shape your results. If you start the day by reacting, like immediately checking messages or scrolling aimlessly, your focus is scattered before you even begin your own work. But if you start the day by deciding what matters most, you train your mind to stay centered. The quiet of the morning is often the best time to do work that requires deep thought or creativity. At this time, distractions are fewer, your energy is fresher, and your mind has not yet been weighed down by the small stresses of the day. Many successful people use these early hours for planning, reflection, or their most important tasks. When you handle something meaningful early, it creates a sense of accomplishment that makes everything else feel lighter. On the other hand, postponing meaningful work until later increases the risk that interruptions and fatigue will prevent you from doing it well. Using the morning to create progress ensures that you already feel ahead when others are still catching up. Momentum builds from action. When you begin the morning by doing one productive thing, it creates a chain reaction. For example, exercising briefly can make you feel more alert, which makes it easier to focus on work. Writing down a clear list of priorities helps you act with direction, instead of being pulled randomly by whatever appears in front of you. Preparing a healthy breakfast gives your body steady energy instead of sudden crashes. Each choice is small, but together they create momentum that lasts for hours. Without these choices, you may spend the morning feeling sluggish, distracted, or unmotivated, and it becomes harder to recover later. Another powerful use of mornings is reflection. When you wake, your mind is often clearer than it will be later. Taking even 5 minutes to think about what matters most that day helps you act with purpose. You can ask yourself simple but effective questions. What one thing must I accomplish today to feel satisfied? What can I do to move closer to my long-term goals? Who needs my attention or support today? These small moments of reflection prevent you from drifting through the day without direction. They remind you that every day is an opportunity to choose progress. Mornings are also an ideal time to practice discipline. Self-control tends to be strongest earlier in the day, before your energy and willpower are depleted by constant decisions. This is why habits such as exercise, reading or writing are often easier to build in the morning. By doing these tasks before distractions appear, you ensure they get done. If you wait until evening, you may be too tired or too busy. Each time you follow through on a morning habit, you strengthen your discipline and prove to yourself that you can act consistently. This builds confidence, and that confidence carries into other parts of life. Protecting your mornings is equally important. You cannot expect to use mornings wisely if you let them be consumed by noise. That means setting boundaries. If you wake up and immediately give your time to notifications, you start your day serving the priorities of others instead of your own. If you allow unimportant tasks to take over, the hours slip away before you realize it. To protect mornings, you must decide what belongs and what does not. A strong morning is not about doing everything, it is about doing the right things with focus. Your environment plays a role as well. Preparing for the morning the night before removes unnecessary friction. For example, laying out clothes, planning meals, or writing down tomorrow's top 3 tasks can help you start without hesitation. The fewer decisions you need to make when you wake up, the more energy you preserve for what matters. Small details like a clean space, good lighting, or a quiet setting also make mornings more inviting. When the environment supports your intentions, it is easier to stay consistent. It is important to remember that mornings should energize you, not overwhelm you. Some people design overly rigid routines with too many tasks, and then they feel guilty when they cannot keep up. That defeats the purpose. A useful morning routine should be simple, realistic, and flexible. You need to choose a handful of practices that matter most for you. It may be exercise, meditation, journaling, studying, or focused work. What matters is that you begin the day with progress instead of passivity. A routine that feels sustainable will be repeated, and repetition is what builds momentum. When you use mornings wisely, you also influence how you handle challenges later. By starting with discipline and purpose, you strengthen your ability to stay calm and focused when the day becomes unpredictable. Problems will always appear, but if you begin strong, you are more resilient. You already have a sense of achievement, so setbacks feel smaller. You are not starting from zero, you are starting from momentum. That psychological advantage is powerful because it keeps you moving forward when others might stall. Over time, how you use mornings can transform your life. Each morning may feel small on its own, but the effect compounds. A year of mornings spent with intention is hundreds of hours invested in your growth, health, and goals. That kind of consistency cannot be built by chance. It must come from deliberate choices. If you treat mornings as wasted time, you lose opportunities that can never be recovered. But if you treat them as valuable, you multiply your chances of success. The truth is, momentum does not come from waiting for the right mood or inspiration. It comes from habits, and mornings are the best place to build those habits. They are a chance to decide how you will use your energy before the world decides for you. If you want to increase productivity, improve health, and feel more in control of your life, start with your mornings. Guard them, shape them, and make them serve your vision. In doing so, you will create daily momentum that grows into long-term achievement. Chapter 14. Break big goals into small daily focused actions. Big goals can feel overwhelming when you look at them as a whole. The distance between where you are today and where you want to be can create hesitation, anxiety, or even inaction. The key to overcoming this is to break those large ambitions into small, manageable actions that you can do consistently each day. Every significant achievement in history was built step by step, yet many people fail to recognize that they can use the same approach in their own lives. By focusing on daily progress instead of the entirety of the goal, you make success not only possible but inevitable. When you break a goal into small actions, clarity becomes immediate. It removes the confusion of not knowing where to start and replaces it with a clear direction. Instead of thinking, "I need to finish this huge project," you identify the first simple step, like drafting a single paragraph, making a phone call, or outlining a task. That small action may seem minor, but it triggers momentum. Momentum is powerful because it turns intention into movement. Once you act, even minimally, your mind begins to engage with the goal, creating motivation to continue. Consistency is the backbone of this approach. Daily actions, even tiny ones, compound over time. A 15-minute focused effort every day accumulates into hours of work each month, and by the end of the year, that effort can surpass what you imagined was possible. The principle is simple. Small actions repeated over time lead to results that seem exponential compared to sporadic bursts of effort. Big goals are intimidating only when viewed in isolation, but when broken down, they are achievable pieces that you can handle with discipline and focus. Identifying the right actions requires thinking about what will move you forward most efficiently. Not every step is equally valuable. You must focus on tasks that directly contribute to your desired outcome and avoid busy work that creates the illusion of progress. This is where prioritization matters. Ask yourself, which activity today brings me closer to completing my goal? Which task is essential rather than optional? By keeping your daily actions aligned with your larger objective, you ensure that effort translates into real advancement instead of wasted energy. Planning your actions in advance makes execution easier. Each day, take a few minutes to write down the 1 or 2 actions that will have the most impact. By choosing what to focus on ahead of time, you prevent decision fatigue and avoid drifting into less important work. A written plan also serves as a reminder and a measurement tool. At the end of the day, you can check whether you completed the tasks and reflect on what adjustments are needed for tomorrow. This process keeps you accountable and ensures continuous progress. Tracking progress is essential for motivation. When you see the small steps you have completed, it reinforces your belief in your ability to achieve the larger goal. Many people abandon big goals not because they are impossible, but because they feel like nothing is changing. By measuring daily actions and results, you create a visible record of growth. Even when progress is incremental, recognizing it strengthens your discipline and encourages you to keep moving forward. Breaking big goals into daily actions also reduces procrastination. Overwhelm often leads to avoidance. When a task appears huge, the mind resists starting. By defining one small next step, you remove the resistance. Action, no matter how small, reduces fear and builds confidence. Each completed step creates a sense of achievement that fuels the next action. The cumulative effect of these small victories produces momentum that carries you through the larger challenge with far less struggle. Flexibility matters too. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes you cannot complete the exact action you planned. That does not mean failure. Adjust the step without losing sight of the goal. The important part is maintaining forward movement, not rigidly following a plan. If you consistently do something every day that moves you closer to your goal, the minor variations in execution do not prevent success. Adaptation ensures that progress continues even when circumstances change. Another critical point is focus. Avoid trying to accomplish too many steps at once. Choose a single meaningful action or a few manageable ones and give them your full attention. Multitasking or dividing effort often leads to poor results and wasted energy. Focusing on one small action ensures quality, reduces mistakes, and creates satisfaction. The brain rewards completion, and finishing a step reinforces your belief that you can reach the next one. Finally, recognize that breaking goals into daily actions is not just about work, it's about mindset. It trains you to see large challenges as a series of manageable efforts instead of insurmountable obstacles. You learn patience, discipline, and strategic thinking. You begin to understand that achievement is not magic or luck, but the result of consistent, focused effort. Each day becomes a building block for your long-term vision, and with each completed action, you gain confidence, clarity, and control over your path. Big goals are attainable when you commit to daily focused action. The key is to identify the small steps that move you forward, focus on them with consistency, track progress, and adjust as needed. By doing this, you create a system that transforms overwhelming ambitions into achievable results. Each day becomes a meaningful contribution to your larger vision, and over time, those small actions accumulate into substantial achievements. The process is simple in principle but powerful in effect, and it ensures that no matter how ambitious your goals, you can reach them one purposeful action at a time. Chapter 15. Surround yourself with people who respect your time. The people you spend the most time with have a profound impact on how you use your own time. Every conversation, meeting, and interaction either adds value or drains your energy. If your circle respects your time, supports your priorities, and encourages growth, you gain momentum toward your goals and maintain clarity in your daily life. On the other hand, if you are surrounded by people who are chronically late, demanding, or distracted, you feel constantly pulled in directions that do not serve you. Learning to protect your time by choosing your company wisely is one of the most effective ways to increase productivity, reduce stress, and maintain focus. Respecting your own time begins with self-awareness. You must understand what matters most to you, what your priorities are, and how your time is best spent. Without that clarity, it is impossible to evaluate whether someone else's demands align with your goals. Knowing your value allows you to set boundaries confidently. When you understand that every hour is limited and powerful, it becomes easier to say no to people who consume time without contributing meaningfully. Protecting your time is not selfish, it is strategic. Choosing people who respect your time starts with observation. Notice who honors your commitments and shows up on schedule, who listens without dominating conversations, and who follows through on promises. These are the people who understand that time is valuable and are aligned with the discipline needed to achieve real results. Equally, notice who constantly interrupts, demands attention for trivial matters, or disregards boundaries. Spending time with these individuals can slowly erode your energy and distract you from what truly matters. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in curating a supportive network. Boundaries are essential. Communicating your availability and priorities clearly helps others understand the importance of your time. You don't need to justify every decision, but setting limits ensures that your energy is focused on productive and meaningful interactions. For example, letting colleagues know when you are available for discussions or telling friends when you need uninterrupted work time creates a framework that protects your day. When boundaries are respected, your relationships become stronger and more balanced, rather than frustrating and draining. It is equally important to evaluate commitments regularly. Some relationships may have been positive in the past, but no longer align with your current priorities. Others may consistently demand more than they give. This does not mean ending every connection abruptly, but it does require conscious choices about where to invest your attention. Limiting time spent on low-value interactions frees mental and emotional energy for the people and projects that matter most. Intentional relationships create an environment that nurtures growth instead of depleting resources. Influence also matters. Being around people who respect your time encourages you to value your own hours more. You start to adopt their habits, learning how to structure your day, honor deadlines, and prioritize tasks. Positive influence is subtle but powerful. It shapes your decisions, your energy, and your discipline. When everyone around you demonstrates respect for time, it becomes easier to reinforce your own practices and maintain momentum in achieving goals. Setting expectations early is crucial in building time-respecting relationships. When collaborating or spending time with someone new, communicate your priorities and boundaries clearly. Make it clear that your focus is intentional and that distractions are unwelcome during shared work. This transparency reduces misunderstandings and ensures that both parties engage respectfully. Over time, you naturally attract people who share similar values and eliminate interactions that create friction or inefficiency. You also need to guard against guilt. Many people feel uncomfortable saying no or reducing interactions, fearing that it will harm relationships. The truth is that protecting your time is a sign of maturity and self-respect. True friends, mentors, and colleagues will understand when you need space to focus on your goals. Maintaining your boundaries does not damage relationships. It strengthens them by creating clarity and mutual respect. Being selective about your environment extends beyond individual interactions. Group settings, social networks, and professional communities all shape how you spend your time. Engage with those who prioritize growth, discipline, and efficiency. Avoid habitual time wasters, gossip, and unnecessary drama. Your environment, just like your inner circle, has a cumulative effect on your energy, focus, and results. Every hour spent immersed in productivity-minded or supportive people compounds into progress over months and years. Mutual respect reinforces accountability. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your time creates a network where expectations are understood and commitments are honored. You can hold each other accountable for personal and professional goals, creating a system that drives consistent improvement. In contrast, a group that disregards boundaries fosters a culture of distraction, excuses, and stagnation. Choosing carefully ensures that your circle accelerates rather than hinders your journey. Mentorship and peer influence are particularly powerful in shaping habits around time. Seek individuals who have already mastered their schedules and respect their own priorities. Observing their approach, asking questions, and modeling behavior can significantly improve your own ability to protect and maximize time. You don't need to reinvent systems. You can learn from those who demonstrate effective practices and apply them consistently. Protecting your time also means being decisive. When someone requests your attention, evaluate whether it aligns with your priorities. If it does, engage fully and intentionally. If it does not, decline politely and without hesitation. Indecision or overcommitment drains energy and scatters focus. Each choice to engage or withdraw from an interaction should reinforce the value of your time. By making these decisions consciously, you turn your schedule into a tool rather than a burden. Consistency is the key to long-term success. Protecting your time once is not enough. It must be reinforced daily. Each interaction and commitment becomes a test of your boundaries. When you consistently surround yourself with people who respect your time, the behavior becomes habitual. Your energy, focus, and productivity increase because your social environment reinforces rather than disrupts your intentions. Ultimately, respecting your time is a reflection of respect for your goals, your priorities, and yourself. Surrounding yourself with people who understand that principle strengthens every aspect of your life. Your days become more productive, your focus sharper, and your relationships more meaningful. Time is your most valuable resource, and choosing companions who honor it ensures that every hour contributes to growth, purpose, and lasting achievement. By curating your circle intentionally, you create a support system that empowers you to accomplish more while maintaining clarity, balance, and energy. Chapter 16. Celebrate small wins daily to build lasting motivation. Progress is fueled by momentum, and momentum grows strongest when you recognize and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. Many people focus only on major milestones, believing that only those moments are worthy of attention. This approach creates a cycle of frustration because big goals take time, and the lack of acknowledgement along the way diminishes motivation. Daily recognition of small wins, on the other hand, builds confidence, reinforces positive behavior, and keeps you moving forward consistently. Celebrating progress is not about arrogance or exaggeration. It is about creating a system that strengthens your commitment and encourages continuous action toward your goals. Small wins are powerful because they make progress tangible. When you complete a task, finish a chapter of work, or achieve a small milestone, you have evidence that your effort produces results. This evidence motivates you to continue. Often, the brain needs reinforcement to maintain consistent behavior. By noticing the small successes each day, you provide that reinforcement and create a positive feedback loop. Over time, these tiny acknowledgements compound, creating a psychological and emotional drive that is far more sustainable than relying solely on external rewards or big achievements. Celebration does not need to be elaborate. It can be as simple as acknowledging your effort internally, marking it on a checklist, or giving yourself a moment to reflect on what you accomplished. Writing down the tasks you finished and reviewing them at the end of the day is a practical way to honor progress. This practice makes abstract goals concrete and reminds you that forward movement is happening even when the bigger picture still feels distant. Recognition of daily progress strengthens resilience and reduces the temptation to procrastinate. Another aspect of celebrating small wins is gratitude. Taking a moment to appreciate what you have achieved enhances your motivation. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is incomplete to what is accomplished. It reinforces the notion that your actions produce real results and that your effort is meaningful. This perspective fuels consistency and reduces frustration that often comes from comparing yourself to others or focusing exclusively on unfinished objectives. By appreciating daily progress, you create emotional energy that propels future actions. Celebrating small wins also strengthens your discipline. Each acknowledgement of progress reinforces habits, making it easier to continue acting in alignment with your goals. For example, if you commit to writing daily and complete your session, recognizing that effort reinforces the habit. Over time, this repeated reinforcement solidifies discipline as a natural part of your routine. Habits are built not just by action, but by consistent acknowledgement of the effort that sustains them. The simple act of recognizing progress daily builds momentum that becomes almost automatic. It is important to link small wins to larger goals. Each tiny achievement should remind you of the bigger objective. This connection gives your accomplishments meaning and makes them more motivating. For instance, completing a small section of a project is a step toward finishing the entire goal. Recognizing the link between daily actions and long-term results strengthens purpose and commitment. When you celebrate progress in context, each day feels valuable, and even incremental effort carries significance. Sharing achievements with others can amplify motivation. Telling someone about a completed task or milestone creates accountability and adds a layer of external reinforcement. Positive recognition from colleagues, friends, or mentors reinforces your sense of capability and encourages continued action. Social acknowledgement can be subtle but powerful, particularly when it comes from people whose opinions you respect. The combination of internal recognition and external validation increases motivation and commitment more than either alone. Celebrating small wins also reduces burnout. Large goals often feel overwhelming, and without acknowledgement of progress, fatigue and discouragement can take hold. By recognizing even minor achievements, you maintain a sense of accomplishment and control. This prevents discouragement and keeps energy levels high. When the brain perceives forward movement, it releases satisfaction chemicals that enhance focus, reduce stress, and increase willingness to continue working. Small celebrations act as mental checkpoints that sustain effort over time. Consistency in celebrating daily wins matters. It is not enough to acknowledge progress once in a while. A daily habit of noticing achievements, however small, creates cumulative motivation. This habit turns recognition into a tool for productivity and resilience. Each day becomes a step forward that reinforces positive behaviors and strengthens your belief in your ability to succeed. The cumulative effect of these celebrations is a mindset geared toward continuous growth and sustained effort. Reflection enhances the impact of celebrating wins. Take time to consider what actions led to success, what strategies were effective, and what adjustments can improve future outcomes. Reflecting on progress turns celebration into insight, providing both motivation and practical learning. By combining acknowledgement with analysis, you not only reinforce positive habits, but also refine your approach for even greater results. This dual process strengthens both performance and mindset. Recognizing small wins encourages a focus on action rather than perfection. Many people delay progress because they wait for ideal circumstances or flawless execution. By celebrating completed steps, you shift focus to action and improvement instead of criticism and hesitation. Each completed task, no matter how minor, becomes proof that effort leads to results. This perspective fosters a proactive mindset that is resilient in the face of setbacks. Daily celebration of wins also supports long-term consistency. Motivation often ebbs and flows, but structured acknowledgement of progress creates a stable source of encouragement. Even on days when energy is low or challenges arise, seeing that progress has been made builds confidence to continue. It provides a tangible sense of accomplishment that is independent of external outcomes, creating internal drive that sustains effort over months and years. Finally, celebrating small wins builds a positive relationship with yourself. It teaches that effort is valuable, that discipline pays off, and that progress deserves recognition. This mindset reduces self-criticism and builds confidence, making it easier to take risks and tackle challenges. Every acknowledged achievement reinforces the belief that your actions matter, that your goals are achievable, and that you have the ability to create lasting change. By making this a daily practice, you create a cycle of motivation, accomplishment, and growth that continuously reinforces itself and drives long-term success. Chapter 17. Create simple systems that save time every day. Efficiency is built through systems, and systems save both time and energy when designed thoughtfully. Life is full of recurring tasks and responsibilities, and without a structured approach, even small activities can drain hours each week. Creating simple systems allows you to handle repetitive tasks automatically, freeing mental space for focus, creativity, and progress. Systems are not about complexity, they are about consistency, organization, and reducing friction in daily life. The goal is to make productivity predictable and manageable so that energy is spent on what truly matters. The first step in building a system is identifying tasks that repeat frequently. This can be anything from managing emails, preparing meals, organizing work, or maintaining your home. By recognizing patterns, you can design approaches that streamline each process. Instead of reacting to every situation individually, systems allow you to handle tasks with predefined steps, saving decision-making energy and reducing wasted time. Small adjustments in recurring tasks compound into significant efficiency gains over weeks and months. Automation is a key element in creating systems. Technology provides countless tools to simplify repetitive work. Email filters, calendar reminders, task management apps, and automated payments all reduce the need to remember or manually handle small tasks. Even simple techniques like preparing templates or checklists can save time and prevent errors. By designing processes that run consistently, you minimize distractions and interruptions that often fragment focus throughout the day. Consistency is reinforced when systems are simple and easy to follow. Complicated processes are hard to maintain and often fail. The simpler the system, the more likely it is to become a habit and produce results. For example, a morning preparation system might include setting out clothes, reviewing priorities, and preparing breakfast ingredients in advance. These small, repeatable steps make mornings more efficient and reduce stress. The key is clarity and repeatability. When you know exactly what to do, you can act without hesitation. Prioritization should guide every system. A system is effective only when it addresses tasks that matter most to your goals. Focus on activities that produce high value and reduce effort spent on low-impact work. For instance, creating a simple process for handling incoming messages ensures that communication does not overwhelm your schedule. At the same time, it allows time to focus on strategic actions that move you closer to long-term objectives. Systems should optimize both time and impact. Delegation complements the power of systems. When you create a process for recurring tasks, consider whether someone else can handle portions of it. Delegating tasks within a system maintains quality while saving your energy for work that requires your expertise. This combination of systems and delegation creates a framework that maximizes output without increasing personal strain. Over time, this approach allows you to accomplish more with less effort. Review and improvement are essential components of any system. A system that worked initially may need adjustment as circumstances change. Regularly evaluate which steps save time and which add unnecessary complexity. Refining processes ensures that your systems remain relevant, efficient, and aligned with your evolving priorities. Continuous improvement prevents stagnation and ensures that your daily routines adapt to increasing demands without sacrificing efficiency. Consistency in using systems also reduces mental fatigue. Without structured approaches, your mind must make countless small decisions every day, which drains willpower and energy. By creating predictable patterns for recurring activities, you preserve mental capacity for decisions that truly matter. This allows you to focus more deeply on strategic thinking, problem solving, and creative work. Systems act as scaffolding for your day, reducing stress and increasing productivity. Documentation strengthens the effectiveness of systems. Writing down steps, checklists, or instructions ensures that processes are followed accurately and can be repeated without error. Documentation also allows systems to be shared with others, whether at work or at home, creating consistency across environments. Even simple notes about routine procedures reduce the need to remember every detail and allow focus on higher-level tasks. Time savings multiply when systems address both personal and professional life. Meal prep routines, workout plans, workspace organization, and communication structures all reduce decision fatigue and wasted time. When systems are applied consistently across different areas, they create an overall sense of control and flow. You spend less time reacting and more time advancing toward meaningful outcomes. A system's value increases when it includes preventive measures. Anticipating common obstacles or interruptions allows you to handle them without disrupting workflow. For example, preparing for meetings in advance, batching similar tasks, or setting up reminders prevents last-minute chaos. These proactive strategies within your systems save time and energy, ensuring that progress continues even when challenges arise. Accountability strengthens system implementation. Share your processes with a colleague, friend, or family member, or track your adherence through a checklist or journal. When there is a mechanism to measure consistency, it reinforces discipline and ensures that systems are followed reliably. Over time, this consistency produces results that would be difficult to achieve through ad hoc effort alone. The ultimate goal of creating simple systems is to reclaim time and energy for the work that truly matters. When daily operations run smoothly and efficiently, you are free to focus on growth, learning, and high-value activities. Systems are the foundation for long-term success because they create predictability, reduce wasted effort, and provide the structure necessary to maintain progress. Systems also foster confidence. When you know that recurring tasks are managed efficiently, you feel less stress and more control over your day. This mental clarity allows better decision-making and strengthens the ability to handle unexpected challenges without losing focus. Confidence grows because your day is structured, predictable, and designed to produce results consistently. Every system you create is an investment in future productivity. Even small adjustments, like organizing your workspace or establishing a weekly planning ritual, have cumulative effects. Minutes saved every day become hours over weeks, and weeks accumulate into months of efficient progress. This compounding effect demonstrates that small intentional systems are among the most powerful tools for achieving long-term goals. Simplicity remains the guiding principle. Overcomplicating a system creates unnecessary friction and resistance. The most effective systems are easy to follow, adaptable and repeatable. By reducing complexity, you ensure that the system can be maintained over the long term, producing consistent results without requiring extraordinary effort. Finally, systems free mental and emotional energy. When repetitive tasks are handled efficiently, you reduce stress, minimize frustration, and create space for creativity and strategic thought. A life built on simple, effective systems allows you to focus on what truly matters, achieve more consistently, and build a foundation for sustained growth. By designing, implementing, and refining systems daily, you ensure that your time is maximized, energy is preserved, and your efforts consistently move you closer to meaningful goals. Chapter 18. Reflect deeply on how you spend every moment. Every moment of your life carries potential, yet most people pass through hours without fully recognizing the value of time. Reflection is a tool that transforms ordinary days into intentional progress. By examining how you spend each minute, you gain clarity, recognize wasted effort, and identify opportunities for improvement. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth, and taking deliberate time to evaluate your actions allows you to align your daily behavior with long-term goals. Without reflection, days drift by passively, and small inefficiency accumulate into lost potential that could have been directed toward meaningful achievements. Reflection begins with honesty. To truly understand how you spend your time, you must observe your actions without judgment or excuses. Track your activities for several days, noting how much energy and focus each task consumes. Identify moments of distraction, procrastination, or aimless activity. Honest observation creates awareness and highlights patterns that may not have been obvious. Awareness itself is a form of control because you cannot improve what you do not recognize. Once you have clarity, evaluate whether each activity contributes to your priorities or goals. Ask yourself if the time invested in social media, television, or unproductive routines is proportional to its value in your life. Contrast this with tasks that push you closer to objectives, enhance skills, or build relationships. Reflection allows you to distinguish between time spent out of habit and time spent intentionally. Every hour redirected from low-value activity to purposeful action accumulates into measurable progress over weeks and months. Reflection also involves understanding your energy cycles. Each person has periods of high focus and low productivity during the day. Observing when you work best and when your mind drifts allows you to schedule tasks strategically. High focus periods should be reserved for work that requires concentration, creativity, or decision-making, while lower energy periods can handle routine or less critical tasks. Aligning actions with natural rhythms increases efficiency and ensures that your energy is maximized. Emotional awareness is another critical aspect. Reflecting on how you spend your time includes noting how tasks make you feel. Activities that drain energy, create stress, or generate resentment indicate a misalignment with priorities or values. Conversely, moments that inspire satisfaction, fulfillment, or growth point to actions that should be repeated or expanded. By recognizing emotional impact, you can prioritize tasks that nourish both your goals and your well-being. Reflection encourages strategic decision-making. When you pause to evaluate how each minute is used, you create the ability to choose actions consciously rather than reacting to circumstances. This mindset shifts responsibility to yourself and empowers you to take control of daily outcomes. Decisions made with intentional awareness lead to more consistent progress and fewer regrets about wasted time or missed opportunities. Daily reflection can be brief but powerful. Taking 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the day to review accomplishments, challenges, and areas for improvement is highly effective. Ask yourself what was productive, what distracted you, and what could be done differently tomorrow. Recording these insights in a journal or planner provides a reference for future decisions and strengthens awareness over time. A short daily habit compounds into greater insight and improved time management. Reflection also fosters gratitude. By consciously reviewing how you spend your time, you notice the moments that bring growth, joy, or connection. Recognizing these experiences enhances motivation and reinforces the value of intentional action. Gratitude makes reflection more balanced by acknowledging not only areas for improvement, but also successes and positive outcomes. This perspective sustains effort and reinforces a constructive mindset. Over time, reflection reveals patterns. By consistently evaluating daily choices, you begin to understand recurring obstacles, habitual distractions, and successful strategies. Patterns help you predict potential challenges and adapt proactively. Recognizing which habits consistently support progress and which impede it allows you to design routines and systems that optimize your effectiveness. Patterns also highlight areas of growth and opportunities for skill development. Reflection should also consider long-term alignment. Each moment, when reviewed, can be evaluated in the context of life goals, values, and vision. Ask whether daily actions are moving you closer to the person you want to become. Reflection links short-term choices to long-term outcomes, creating a framework for consistency and purposeful living. Small daily adjustments, guided by reflection, accumulate into significant life transformations. The practice of reflection strengthens self-discipline. When you review how time is spent, you become more conscious of decisions and less susceptible to procrastination or distraction. Discipline grows naturally when awareness is paired with deliberate action. Each day becomes an opportunity to correct course, reinforce positive habits, and minimize wasted effort. Over weeks, reflection cultivates habits that make disciplined living effortless. Reflection also provides a foundation for goal setting. By examining how time is currently used, you gain insight into what is realistic, what requires adjustment, and where extra focus is needed. This awareness informs the creation of achievable daily and weekly goals. Without reflection, goals may be aspirational, but disconnected from reality. Reflection ensures alignment between intention, action, and outcome. Accountability is strengthened through reflection. Recording insights, progress, and setbacks creates a tangible record of effort and improvement. This accountability motivates continued action and encourages problem-solving when challenges arise. Awareness of patterns and results ensures that reflection leads to constructive changes rather than simply observation. Finally, reflecting deeply on how you spend every moment creates mastery over your own life. It transforms passive routines into intentional actions, strengthens decision-making, and builds momentum toward personal growth. Each minute becomes a tool rather than a circumstance, and each day becomes a deliberate step toward your goals. Reflection cultivates clarity, focus, and resilience, empowering you to maximize your time, energy, and potential. By making this a consistent practice, you ensure that every moment works for you rather than against you, producing continuous progress, fulfillment, and control over your life. Chapter 19. Keep promises to yourself by honoring your schedule. Keeping promises to yourself is one of the most powerful ways to build self-respect, discipline, and long-term success. Every commitment you make to yourself is a reflection of your values, priorities, and integrity. When you honor these promises consistently, you strengthen confidence and create a foundation for productivity and growth. A schedule is more than a plan. It is a tool that allows you to turn intention into action. Failing to follow it weakens self-trust, slows progress, and creates internal friction that can affect every area of life. Honoring your schedule is an act of respect toward yourself and toward the goals you have set. The first step is understanding the importance of your personal commitments. Promises to others are often easier to keep because social accountability exists, but promises to yourself require discipline and self-awareness. You are your own most important accountability partner. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you reinforce belief in your capability, increase reliability, and reduce the gap between intention and action. This creates momentum, and momentum compounds into lasting achievement. Scheduling effectively begins with clarity. You need to know exactly what you intend to accomplish and when. A schedule should reflect priorities rather than simply filling time. By clearly defining tasks, deadlines, and routines, you create a roadmap that aligns daily activity with long-term objectives. Ambiguity invites procrastination and wasted energy, while clear schedules enable deliberate action. When your schedule is built around what matters most, honoring it becomes a tangible way to keep promises to yourself. Consistency is the key to maintaining integrity with your schedule. Daily adherence to planned activities, even in small increments, reinforces self-discipline. It is not about perfection, but about reliability. Skipping commitments gradually erodes self-trust, but consistent follow-through strengthens it. Each day presents multiple opportunities to honor promises, and making small choices consistently reinforces your ability to respect yourself. Anticipating obstacles is a practical strategy. Life is unpredictable, and challenges can interfere with your schedule. By planning for interruptions, you protect critical commitments. Building flexibility into your schedule ensures that essential tasks are completed without compromising progress. Recognizing potential distractions in advance allows you to take proactive measures rather than reacting passively and risking broken promises. Accountability tools can support your commitment. Journals, checklists, reminders, or digital planners help track progress and maintain adherence. Recording completed tasks provides tangible evidence of your reliability and reinforces the habit of honoring your commitments. Visual cues or progress tracking can strengthen motivation, making it easier to stick to schedules even when energy or enthusiasm fluctuates. Discipline and motivation often intersect when you honor promises to yourself. Motivation alone is unreliable because it fluctuates with mood and circumstance. Discipline, reinforced through consistent action, ensures that commitments are kept regardless of temporary feelings. Scheduling reinforces this discipline by creating a structure that guides behavior, making it easier to act with intention even when motivation wanes. Respecting your schedule also requires learning to say no. Every commitment you make is an allocation of your limited time and energy. Accepting unnecessary obligations dilutes focus and prevents you from fulfilling promises to yourself. Evaluating new requests against your priorities ensures that your schedule remains aligned with what truly matters. Saying no strategically protects both your time and your ability to follow through on personal goals. Reflection enhances adherence to your schedule. At the end of each day, reviewing what was completed, what was missed, and what can be improved strengthens awareness and accountability. Reflection reveals patterns of success and areas where adjustments are needed. By learning from daily experience, you continually refine your ability to honor commitments and optimize time usage. Self-respect grows as you consistently keep promises to yourself. When you recognize that you are reliable and capable of following through, confidence increases. This internal trust enables you to take on larger goals, make bolder decisions, and handle challenges with clarity. Broken promises, on the other hand, create internal conflict, self-doubt, and procrastination, which slowly undermine growth and progress. Time perception is also influenced by honoring your schedule. When commitments are kept, each hour feels productive and purposeful. Conversely, ignoring schedules creates a sense of wasted time and diminishes the value of effort. Treating every scheduled moment as a promise to yourself gives structure, purpose, and urgency to daily action, making each hour meaningful and aligned with long-term objectives. Progress builds naturally when promises are honored. Every completed task, no matter how small, becomes evidence of capability and growth. These small victories compound, reinforcing confidence, motivation, and discipline. Each day of adherence strengthens self-trust and makes it easier to maintain momentum, creating a cycle of consistent achievement that extends across weeks and months. Accountability to yourself also influences relationships and work performance. When you demonstrate reliability in managing personal commitments, your ability to manage external responsibilities improves. The habit of honoring your own promises spills over into professional and social interactions, creating a reputation for discipline, responsibility, and integrity. Self-accountability thus has broad, far-reaching effects. Flexibility within structure is crucial. While schedules must be respected, rigid adherence without consideration for circumstance can lead to frustration. Honoring promises does not mean perfection. It means adjusting wisely while maintaining commitment to priorities. Flexibility combined with intentional action ensures that promises are kept even in unpredictable situations, reinforcing reliability without creating unnecessary stress. Prioritization ensures that the most important promises are never neglected. Scheduling should reflect urgency, significance, and impact. Tasks that contribute most to long-term goals should have precedence. By focusing on what matters, you ensure that your time and energy are directed toward meaningful progress, and each promise honored brings tangible benefit. Over time, honoring promises to yourself becomes habitual. The act of keeping commitments strengthens self-discipline, reinforces focus, and creates a framework for growth. This habit reduces procrastination, strengthens integrity, and aligns daily action with long-term vision. A life built on consistent adherence to personal commitments becomes more productive, purposeful, and resilient. The ultimate benefit of honoring your schedule is self-mastery. Each fulfilled commitment reinforces the idea that you control your actions, choices, and outcomes. Mastery over time and commitments creates freedom, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment that cannot be achieved through external validation alone. By treating your schedule as a promise to yourself and consistently following through, you create a life of intentional action, measurable progress, and enduring self-respect. Chapter 20. Live each minute intentionally with purpose and clarity. Living intentionally requires conscious awareness and deliberate decision-making in every moment. Life often unfolds passively, with hours slipping away unnoticed while energy and focus are scattered across distractions. Purposeful living begins with understanding your values, goals, and priorities, and then aligning each action with them. When clarity guides behavior, each choice becomes meaningful rather than habitual or reactionary. Intentionality transforms ordinary minutes into tools for growth, progress, and fulfillment. By cultivating awareness, you ensure that time is spent in ways that matter most to your life, health, and ambitions. The first step is identifying what truly matters. Without clarity, actions become random and effort dissipates. Take time to define personal values, long-term objectives, and the legacy you wish to create. Knowing your purpose creates a framework for decision-making, making it easier to distinguish between tasks that are important and those that are trivial. Each decision, no matter how small, should reflect these priorities to ensure that daily life aligns with broader aspirations. Intentional living also requires focus. Every minute should be dedicated to meaningful activity rather than reactive busyness. Focus involves directing energy toward tasks that advance goals, cultivate skills, or enhance well-being. Eliminating distractions and structuring time around key priorities ensures that effort is productive and results-oriented. When focus is maintained, each hour contributes to progress, reinforcing a sense of purpose and satisfaction. Clarity of purpose enhances decision-making. When goals are defined, it becomes easier to evaluate options and choose the most effective course of action. Avoiding indecision and wasted time requires knowing in advance what is worth attention. Clarity provides a benchmark against which all actions can be measured, preventing misalignment and wasted effort. Every choice becomes an opportunity to advance rather than a random reaction to circumstance. Reflection is integral to intentional living. Daily review of actions and outcomes allows you to assess whether your time was spent meaningfully. Consider which activities contributed to growth, which provided value, and which diverted energy from priorities. Honest reflection identifies opportunities for improvement and reinforces conscious decision-making. By evaluating each day, you cultivate awareness that strengthens focus and ensures alignment with long-term objectives. Planning supports purposeful use of time. Intentionality is easier when each day is organized around clear priorities and objectives. Scheduling high-impact tasks during peak energy periods maximizes productivity. Planning does not eliminate spontaneity but provides a structure that ensures meaningful progress. Each planned action becomes a deliberate step toward achieving goals, making time a tool rather than a circumstance. Mindfulness enhances intentionality. Being fully present in each activity allows deeper engagement, better quality of work, and increased satisfaction. When attention is scattered, effort becomes inefficient and experiences lose value. Mindfulness strengthens awareness of time, energy, and focus, enabling you to act deliberately rather than reactively. Practicing presence makes each moment purposeful and reinforces connection between actions and outcomes. Energy management is key to living intentionally. Even when time is allocated wisely, depleted energy limits effectiveness. Prioritizing rest, nutrition, exercise, and mental well-being ensures that focus can be maintained throughout the day. Energy and attention are resources. Managing them effectively allows consistent execution of purposeful actions. Intentional living requires both clarity of purpose and sustained capability to act in alignment with that purpose. Intentionality also requires saying no to low-value activities. Every commitment consumes time and energy. Evaluating tasks against your priorities and declining those that do not contribute to meaningful outcomes protects focus. Saying no is a form of self-respect and ensures that minutes are dedicated to actions that matter. It prevents diffusion of effort and reinforces alignment with purpose. Consistency amplifies impact. Living intentionally is not a single decision, but a continuous practice. Daily adherence to purposeful actions reinforces habits, strengthens discipline, and compounds progress. Each intentional choice builds momentum that extends beyond immediate outcomes into long-term achievement. A consistent approach transforms small, deliberate actions into substantial results over time. Decision-making with clarity requires understanding trade-offs. Every moment dedicated to one task is time not spent on another. Awareness of these trade-offs encourages prioritization and ensures that actions align with values. Evaluating choices consciously prevents regret and wasted effort, reinforcing a sense of control and responsibility over how time is spent. Purposeful living strengthens resilience. When actions are aligned with values and goals, challenges are easier to navigate. Obstacles are seen as opportunities to adjust strategy rather than as distractions from meaningless activity. Clarity and focus provide guidance during uncertainty, enabling deliberate action even under pressure. Resilience grows when each decision is anchored in intention rather than reaction. Intentionality fosters fulfillment. Satisfaction arises from knowing that time is spent on meaningful pursuits rather than squandered. Each completed task aligned with purpose produces tangible results and internal reward. This creates a reinforcing cycle. Purposeful action leads to progress, which increases motivation and encourages further intentional behavior. Fulfillment is a natural outcome of living deliberately. Intentional living requires adaptability. While purpose guides actions, circumstances change and flexibility is necessary. Adjusting plans while maintaining alignment with core priorities ensures that time remains meaningful. Adapting intentionally prevents rigidity from becoming a barrier and allows consistent progress despite shifting conditions. Clarity and flexibility together create sustainable effectiveness. Finally, living each minute intentionally demands accountability to oneself. Tracking actions, evaluating outcomes, and adjusting behavior fosters a sense of responsibility. Accountability strengthens discipline, reinforces habits, and ensures that time is consistently invested in high-value activities. By combining clarity, focus, reflection, energy management, and accountability, each moment becomes an instrument for personal growth, productivity, and fulfillment. Intentional living transforms ordinary days into a series of deliberate steps toward meaningful achievement, ensuring that every minute contributes to a life of purpose, clarity, and lasting impact.